Hello everybody and welcome to Formula Sim Racing for the final round of the World Championship. It's round 16 from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Brazil, and we could be in for one hell of a race. Apologies for getting going a little bit late. There was a little bit of a server issue and the guys are just putting a little bit of rubber back down on the circuit. The server issue has meant that there's pretty much going to be no real road for the drivers heading into qualifying. Spices things up a little bit, but also the chance of rain has been very, very high for this race over the course of the last week, with the amount of percentage of rain reducing and reducing, but it could still come. Mohammed Patel has already been crowned as the FSR World Champion a few races ago, so he's basically just racing for pride now. I'm sure he'll still want to go and take a victory. Yerni Simoncic has managed to secure second place in the driver's standings, but I will go through the full driver standings a little bit later on, or if it's going to be a few minutes until qualifying, I'll get into them fairly soon. I would just quickly mention as well though that you can follow Formula Sim Racing for live updates throughout the race on Twitter. Ron will be happy with me for mentioning that one. So yeah, if you're into your tweeting, make sure you check out the link in the descriptions for the FSR Twitter account. Now, we won't be too long until we're heading into qualifying. As I say that, we're about to move into the session now. And for anybody that is new to FSR, we have a 20-minute session where all of the drivers are allowed to basically do 12 laps. Doesn't mean they can do 12 flying laps. It works out that they can do 4 flying laps. You've got your out lap, your flying lap, and an in lap. Times it by 4, that gets you your 12. So, who's going to take pole position? Difficult one to guess. Now, I may be joined at times throughout the commentary through our broadcaster, Peter Schulze. I want to thank him for doing the broadcast today. He's already done one earlier today in the pro event. He's joined us again. We may hear him if he's showing replays during the race. And hopefully Felix van Delft will be able to join us for the race as well. So, into the final round of the World Championship. As I mentioned, it means we've got a bit of a break after this race until the following season. And if you think that Formula Sim Racing is somewhere that you want to compete, check out the links in the description and come and check out the Formula Sim Racing forum. So, qualifying session underway then. A few drivers getting out there nice and early. As I mentioned, with the real road, with there being hardly any real road, that could make it very, very difficult for a number of drivers here. If they've gone for a low aerodynamic setup, they're not going to have the grip from the circuit. But if they've gone for a high aerodynamic setup, that's going to help them out a little bit. I'm just going to have a quick look at Yerni Simoncic, and maybe our broadcast will be able to jump on board with him. Had an interesting but unfortunate race last time out in America. So as he starts his first flying lap here in Brazil, taking turn 1 and 2, the Senna S's absolutely committed, as Yerni Simoncic always is, through the Curva do Sol. Turn 3 and now down the Reta Raposta. DRS is not available in these cars, given the sort of year that these cars are based on, meaning overtaking could be a little bit difficult when we get into the race, but means no speed boost during qualifying. Now heading into Ferradura and Laranjina. Interesting names there before we get closer and closer to the Bico de Pato. Now, Yerni Simoncic using a lot of steering lock here, but it can benefit you around the tight corners of the nature of this track. Through Bico de Pato, a little bit of understeer, followed now by a bit of oversteer. Once again, committed though by Yerni Simoncic. He's done a 17.1 sector 1, and that's been beat slightly by Sander Callas, the current ace champion, who is now competing in the World Championship. And Eric Andre's also just done a fastest sector 2 time. But what is Yerni Simoncic going to do here? Provisional pole position with a 109.758. And Eric Andre has got a purple sector 2, but he was slow in sector 1. Let's see, is he going to be able to complete a decent lap? It's 4th place at the moment. Now Michael Ayres has just managed to pop himself in to 3rd and bump down to 4th, but he does have a 5th place grid penalty. That's going to make things a little more interesting for him in his 2nd World Championship event. Sander Callas did complete his lap, but only to go 2nd place. Michele D'Alessandro, let's see, he has abandoned his lap, I think. No, he is still on a lap at the moment.
And Michi Hoyer just managed to go in provisional pole. Just getting beaten by Michele D'Alessandro, going purple in Sector 2. I think the lap times they're setting right now are pretty competitive, seeing that as there is no reroad at all.
Definitely. Now, with the lap times, I wouldn't be surprised if, as the track rubbers in a little more, and a little more, we could get into the very, very low 109s. Let's see who else out there. Wojciech Lukaszek about to complete a lap, and he's going to go 4th place with a 109.8. Florian Becker on a lap at the moment. He's just been through Sector 1. It's only a 17.4, which could hint at running a slightly higher wing setting. Could make it difficult for overtaking, but if we are going to have rain coming a little later, Peter, whichever you like to be called, the higher wing could benefit drivers in the wet conditions, but in qualifying and pure overtaking ability, it's going to make things a little difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, high wings in general are pretty good in the rain, even if it's only like 2 or 3 clicks. Earlier in Suzuka in the Ace race, I've made a mistake to put my wing down when the track started to dry after practice, and as soon as we moved into the race session, rain was pouring down and it was horrible to drive. When I was driving in the wets earlier with like 3 clicks more wings, front and rear wing, and it was much better.
Yeah, it can make a massive difference. Mohammed Patel just coming up to the end of Sector 2, getting a little bit rear end happy through Magulio, but it's looking like a decent Sector 2 time as well, a 36.0, and then it's just the absolute flat out run towards the finish line. As I mentioned, he's already crowned the champion. This is all about pride. Pride's taking a little bit of a dent there, I think.
And Martin Stefrenko just did a purple Sector 2.
He has like
he's running good rings.
Yeah, 35.7, 3/10 faster than Mohammed Patel. Where's he going to put him? Pole position. Now Martin taking a win in America last time out. He's going to be absolutely buzzing for this race. The confidence boosted massively. Martin Gosby coming up to the end of Sector 2 as well. He's on an improvement on his lap. Let's see, not massive gain though, unfortunately. Let's see, currently sitting in 10th place, and it's only going to bump him up about 9th unless he has a very, very quick final sector. Across the line he goes, and it is only 8th place. Now this is where, for any drivers that are perhaps anticipating rain, it could have a massive effect on their qualifying position. But for Martin Stefrenko, it's an absolutely fantastic lap time he's set there, a 109.514, as the drivers make their way out onto track again, although Florian Becker has just gone through Sector 1. He's done a 17.2 Sector 1 time. He's a 10.5 up on his previous best, being in 14th place. That's going to help him out quite a bit, but probably only to the benefit of 2 positions unless he can keep the improvements going, which could happen here as the track gets grippier and grippier. I think the worst thing that could happen now is if it rained, Peter, because there's hardly any grip on track as it is, and if it rained, it'd just be oh so slippy out there.
Yeah, exactly. When watching Florian Becker, he just turned in way too early for the last corner, having to steer out of the corner again to not completely cut it. I think that cost him massively, being 2/10 up after Sector 2. Actually, not that much, I think.
Yeah, he just about managed to carry the speed through into that final sector. Let's see. Come on.
Just as I switched to Mark Hutchinson, he put his car into the wall.
Well, I would feel sorry for him, but he beat me earlier on, so I'm not going to feel sorry for Mark in this one. I'll just giggle at him instead. No, I'm only joking. Let's see, Michele D'Alessandro is lining up to start another flying lap. See, currently sitting in second place. Only needs to find a tenth of a second to try and steal pole position. Something I haven't looked at yet is what kind of top speed he's getting. Let's see, 317, 318, 319 kilometers an hour quickly on the downshifts, trying to make sure he's got the car settled. I think he might be running a fairly high-ish wing setting because he was so balanced through turn 2 and 3 there. Let's see how he gets on through Decido de Largo. It's a 17.1 sector time, which is good. Oh, twitchy. That may be a massive time loss there.
Yeah, he ran a bit too wide into turn 4 and then went into the Astro and lost it on the acceleration.
Yeah, he's run wide now through turn 6 and 7. I think that he may abandon this when he sees his sector 2 time. Although sometimes, if you can note, yeah, there we go, he is abandoning the lap. Unfortunate for Michele there, he will be annoyed with himself on that one.
And Johnny Simičić just ran purple in sector 1.
17.0. Fantastic sector 1 time that is. Perhaps hinting that he's running a slightly lower wing or a little deep, little too deep. Easy to do around this circuit in the tight infield section of the track. Through Bico de Pato now. Front end gripping a little better for him. So he is a tenth up on his own previous time, but I think he's lost a little bit through sector 2.
And he will get slipstream.
He will get a slipstream off a Ghost Speed car by the looks of it, and probably James Sadler. And obviously Ghost Speed have been working with slipstreams throughout a lot of the races recently, so where's this going to put Johnny Simičić? Is there much of a gain? Not enough. He's up to 3rd with a purple sector 3. That sector 2 has hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, without running right there, I think that would have been pole. He had a top speed of like 330 down his start-finish line, all because of the slipstream.
Yeah, 332. Michi Hoyer is on a lap at the moment, sector 1 time at 17.1, so he's 1.5 tenths off Yerny's sector 1 time. Let's see if he can have a better sector 2 though. Only one more corner until he goes through the timing beacon. Let's see if he's going to gain. No, he's down. He's lost 1.5 tenths. Now, I know his teammate has also recently completed another lap, but I think it was a little bit of a messy one, and Michi Hoyer abandons it.
Yeah, Martin Stefanko also abandoned after sector 2 being 4 tenths down.
Okay, just to let you know, Wojciech Lukaszek is on a flying lap at the moment. Mohamed Patel is also in the middle sector on an out lap, so I'll give you a shout, Peter, when Mohamed Patel's about to start his flying lap, if you want to have a look at him. So yeah, Mohamed Patel through the final corner, making his way up towards the start-finish line. Now, throughout the course of the season, Mohamed Patel has tended to have a lower top speed, and at the moment, yeah, he is down a little bit, 316 kilometers an hour, 317 kilometers an hour just before turn 1, which means it could hurt him towards turn 1, but also down towards turn 4, but it should benefit him massively through that middle sector. Let's see how committed he's going to be. Yeah, 17.2 sector 1 time, down a little bit on his previous best, and I think that's major lag.
I think the server went on.
Oh, I think you could be right. I think the server has gone down because I'm not seeing any drivers out there on track at the moment. And apologies, folks, for that. I guess we're going to have to wait and see what the race director is going to do there. I think we may just go to... we may have to go to...
Interesting.
Well,
but
just
I know what we can do in the meantime, because the server has to go up again. I think we need to put some rubber down. I don't know what's the procedure now with qualifying. We have the highlights video of our last WC race ready, and I would say we will just show you the highlights video while we get everything sorted with the server.
Sounds good to me. Crack on.
Okay, see you soon.
Hello and welcome to highlights of the Thrustmaster Formula SimRacing World Championship from the fascinating Circuit of the Americas, which is arguably the most challenging addition to the calendar in recent years. In the Drivers' Championship standings, Mohammed Patel has it all secured as champion. He is absent from this race though due to other commitments, while Gosby can still snatch second place from Simoncic. In the Constructors' standings, Musto also have it all secured. However, Go Speed and Flag to Flag are still in a close fight for the runner-up spot. In an extremely competitive qualifying session, Yerny Simoncic took pole position ahead of Stefanko and Kallas. Gosby would start down in 6th place, making his pursuit of Simoncic unlikely. Michael Ayres makes his World Championship debut starting in 8th, whilst both Invictus cars start from the pits. As the drivers revved their engines in the Texan sunshine, there was plenty of anticipation as the penultimate race of the season was about to get underway. Lights out, and Simoncic has got a fantastic start, whilst 4th place Lukaszek was immediately on the attack. However, he had to back off, which dropped him to 5th place. All drivers though getting cleanly through turn 1. Going into turn 11, Hoyer makes an aggressive pass on Kallas at the hairpin, and like glue, he makes it stick. Kallas though tried to get that position back, however he locks up, allowing the Go Speed Super Sub of Lukaszek through as well. On to lap 2, and Kallas fell victim to another overtake, this time though from the flag to flag of Martin Gosby at turn 12. Go Speed Super Sub Wojciech Lukaszek did a fabulous job to qualify P4, however putting too much power at turn 9 undid all the hard work, ensuring there would be no repeat of his dominant win in the Pro Series earlier that day. Sander Kallas was really struggling for pace in America as he continued to drop back, falling victim to a bold pass by Michael Ayres into turn 1, before the vodball of Risto Capit followed suit into turn 12, a nice overtake up the inside. On to lap 13, and the race leader Yerny Simoncic pits for the prime tyres. However, not even a lap later, the unthinkable happens as it starts to rain. This forces everybody to pit for the wet tyres and drops Simoncic all the way down to P5, having done the extra pit stop. However, that P5 would become P4 when he passed the twister of Michael Ayres into turn 11 with a brave move up the inside in the wet conditions. Now, the rain didn't last long, but staying out on primes was never going to work, and unfortunately for the Musto driver Cameron Roger, that's kind of exactly what he did as he found his way slightly off track and into the barrier. Michael Ayres also fell victim to the wet track as he hit the wall at turn 19, thankfully though right by the pit so he could instantly pit for a new front wing. Now, when the rain came and everybody pitted for the full wet tyre, Jos Araneda had taken a gamble on the rain not lasting long because he had put on the intermediates, which worked a treat as he was slicing his way through the field before passing Camille Wieswa for 7th place. With the track drying up quickly, Sander Kallas was the first to take the gamble of switching from the full wet tyre to a slick tyre. He chose to go for the primes. A whole 5 laps later, both Gosby and Simoncic came in. However, the flag-to-flag driver missed his pit box, which enabled Simoncic to jump him in the pit lane. Interestingly though, Simoncic was on the prime tyre compared to Martin Gosby, who was now running the options. Throughout the whole dry, wet, dry situation of the race, Martin Stefanko had managed to work his way into a brilliant race lead. Unsurprisingly, he decided to play it safe as he was the last of the leaders to make the switch to slicks. He too put on the option tyre. Gosby, who dropped behind Simoncic in the pit stops, were not for long as a mistake allowed the flag-to-flag driver through, and even gave Risto Capit a chance of taking a position. As the track had just become dry enough for slicks, it was still incredibly wet offline, and putting a wheel on the damp part proved fatal for the Go Speed Engineering driver Camille Wieswer, who ended up in the barrier. It would also prove fatal for the Musto of Cameron Roger, who would have a spectacular shunt as a result of the conditions. Earlier in the race at turn 19, Michael Ayres had a bit of a moment and ended up in the barrier and losing his front wing, and on this occasion he caught a slippery curb and lost the rear wing, and that means only one thing: unfortunately, race over for Michael. On to lap 37, and second place Michi Hoyer also made a mistake at turn 19, and this put Martin Gosby in striking range to capitalise on another mistake later on at turn 13. Hoyer was really struggling in these conditions, which showed when he made a big mistake a lap later. He was lucky to avoid the wall, but it did drop him down to P5. That P5 position for Hoyer though would become P4 when Gosby and Capit came to blows in the pit lane, costing the Vodbull driver a whole load of time. This time loss gave an opportunity for Jos Araneda to jump him for 5th. However, he lost that opportunity when he made a mistake at turn 1 and spun, ultimately dropping him behind Sander Callas. Meanwhile, staying out an extra lap was the right decision for Simoncic as he jumped Gosby for 2nd place. Desperate to get that position back, Gosby pushed extremely hard, almost too hard at turn 10. However, ultimately he kept the car in the right direction. Back at the front and having benefited from the timing of the rain shower, Stefanko had inherited the lead, but he didn't look back, taking his and his team's maiden World Championship win conveniently on ACR's home soil. Jurij Simoncic fought back to 2nd, which would be enough to secure the runner-up spot in the drivers' standings for the 2nd year in succession. Martin Gosby finished in 3rd ahead of Hoyer and Capit, while Callas finished in 6th, despite his spin. Jos Araneda was delighted to collect a career best 7th despite starting from the pit lane. 11 cars saw the checkered flag in an action-packed race, and in the drivers' standings the first 3 positions are now all secured, whilst Hoyer has now moved ahead of Kiss for 4th place. In the constructors, the battle for 2nd was still extremely close as flag to flag and Go Speed are separated by just 7 points with 1 more round to go. And what an eventful race that was, unexpectedly changeable conditions and full of overtaking. The big question now is, who will take the silver trophy in the constructors standings? Will it be flag to flag or will it be Go Speed? We will have to wait and see when the season finale takes place on the 19th of November at 16:30 GMT. If you think you have what it takes to compete in Formula Sim Racing, then check out the links below and sign yourself up. Keep up to date with FSR by following us on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel for all the live stream events and highlights videos. I've been your commentator Dave Paling, thank you very much for watching and we'll see you all again soon. Thanks for rejoining us, folks, and once again apologies for the issues there. As you may have noticed, we lost the server again, but it did give us a chance to play the highlights from the Circuit of the Americas. So thanks to Matthew Tucson for putting those together for us, and not sure who the dodgy commentator was on them. Sounds a bit strange if you ask me. Hopefully we will be getting qualifying going again in about 4 minutes time. There may have been some changes made to the server, i.e. weather conditions, to see if we can stop the servers from having any issues. I don't know too much about it because I'm a commentator, not a race director. But yeah, hopefully in about 4 minutes we will restart qualifying. It does mean that qualifying will be restarted all over again, which means that everybody has had a chance to sort of have a look at everybody else's straight line speeds and potentially make a few minor adjustments if they are allowed to do so, because the original qualifying session effectively does not exist. Now I know that our broadcaster Peter Schulze is trying to eat while we're broadcasting at the moment. He's had a food delivery. What are you having, Peter?
Nothing yet, because the food hasn't arrived.
Oh, well, that's not very good of them, is it? Well, hopefully they will deliver during warm-up and not in the middle of qualifying. Okay, Peter, if you'd just taken part in that qualifying session that now no longer exists, would it make you think about adjusting anything on your setup regarding to the kind of lap times that we saw guys doing?
Yes, because as a precaution, I know that the plugins have been disabled on the server, which means we won't have any rain. So drivers who have prepared for the rain will now load their full tri setup, lowering the wings a little bit maybe. So I think there will be some setup changes by some guys.
Yeah, it would make sense for the drivers to do it. The only reason not to would be if they are happy with how their car is handling and are concerned that if they made any kind of a change that it could have a negative effect. Like you were mentioning that you got your wing balance slightly wrong and the car was awful. It can work the same way in the drive. If you've got too much front wing, you've got no rear grip, or if you reduce your wings too much overall, you don't have enough grip. Or if you've not driven on a lower aero setup, you don't know what the tyres are going to do. Like the option tyres, they start going off from about lap 7 or 8. Well, you've got no knowledge of how they're going to behave, what levels of grip you're going to have from that point on. Now I'm not going to go through the drivers' standings because they were shown on the highlights video that we just played, but I may go through them during the warm-up session if anybody does want a recap. We've got about 1 minute and 20 seconds until we get qualifying underway again. As for strategy, well, obviously, as you mentioned, Peter, there's no weather, so the drivers don't have to worry about is it going to rain, is it not going to rain. But strategy is an interesting one. I didn't really get to see much of the Ace race yesterday, but I know in Pro there was a mixture of 1 stops and 2 stops. But I've got a feeling that we could be seeing 3 or more here in the World Championship.
Actually, I don't think there will be anything more than 3. Tire wear is not particularly high around here, so I wouldn't be surprised if the most common option is double option stint and 1 prime stint, so a 2 stop. I think that will be the strategy most will do.
Okay, interesting. See, I tried to make things mysterious for everybody. You're like, no, they're 2 stops. They're just going to go long on their tyres. They're going to do nothing exciting, and this is what we're going to have. Who knows? You never know. I mean, one thing that I was thinking during the race earlier today was, I mentioned that there's no DRS on these cars, which does make it difficult to overtake. So the drivers, and you'll know this as well, Peter, the drivers have to consider that if they are going to make an extra pit stop and go for lighter fuel loads, there's a damn good chance they're going to get stuck behind somebody. And if you get stuck behind somebody, you could lose a massive amount of time if they're on a lower fuel load, even if their tyres are older.
And I think we're just moving to qualifying right now. And yeah, to come back to your point, I think you you've seen it firsthand in Pro today, being stuck like
Yeah.
30 laps behind Tom Olemenger.
Yep, it's a little frustrated. I could definitely say that. But I mean, something we've seen from the World Championship this season, we've seen Mohammed Patel going longer than most. Martin Gosby has been good at going that little bit longer. Strategy won't really fully play out until everybody has made their final stops. But we are getting qualifying underway then for round 16 of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. It is the final race of the season. Qualifying take 2. Let's see how we get on here then. So, Peter, who are you going to stick the camera on first?
I'm just watching Sergio Harris exiting the pits. I think most of them are just waiting in the pit lane right now. I only see 4 drivers on the grid, on the track right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sergi Arras is in as a reserve driver for Musto, and Sergi's a driver who usually likes to go long on his tyres. He's done that quite often in Ace this season. Be interesting to see if he's able to do it here in the World Championship as well. But again, I mean, as for track condition, the track conditions are very much an unknown for the drivers again, in that there is not a lot of grip down there on the track at the moment. Well, let's see what Sergi Arras is going to be able to do. And I think Martin Stefanko's lap time he had done a little earlier on was a 109.5, so that's kind of the benchmark the drivers have got to be aiming at. But now I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we do see lower, if drivers are just going to drop the wing level. Let's see, Sergi Arras hitting 321 kilometers an hour into turn 1 through the Senna S's. Absolutely committed through there. And now running through the Curva de Sol. And take a little bit of a breather as you get ready to hit the brakes for Decido de Largo. Want to get it nice and tucked it on the apex, but don't let the rear end step out too much. You did well to save that there. It's so easy to end up in the barrier. It's a 17.2 sector 1 time. Fully committed once again through Larangina. I'm not very good with my Portuguese, so apologies folks. Oh, a little bit deep, a little bit of understeer. That won't be making Sergi feeling too confident. And now the corner that tends to lock a tyre more than most around this track. Sergi dealing with that one quite nicely. Through Magulio. Not the most difficult of braking zones in Junção, but the exit is oh so important. And Wojciech Lukaszek has already posted a lap time for 109.938. So let's see if Sergi Arras is going to be able to improve on that at all. Coming up to the line now, and it's only a 110.1.
I just switched to an Eric Andre, putting a purple sector 1 in with a 17.1.
Well, and Eric did ask me earlier on to what his nickname was that I was going to give him. I decided to go with Andrex just because I wasn't feeling very imaginative. So let's see how Andrex is going to get on here. Oh, you might need a bit of it through that corner. A little bit twitchy. But this is what I was on about, Peter, with the drivers. If they're going to drop wing off their car now for this session, it could be very much an unknown for them. Let's see what Andre's going to do. It's currently 3rd place. Now, what I'm interested to see is what the likes of Michi Hoyer, Martin Stefanko and Yerni Simicic are going to be able to do in these fully dry conditions.
And I think most of the known WC drivers are just waiting it out in the pits to let the others put some railroad on. Like most of the drivers who have set some laps right now are reserve drivers normally driving in Pro on Ace, which is pretty interesting to see.
Yep, it definitely is. I mean, I mentioned in America we're at a point of the season where teams could look at giving a few drivers a reserve and see how they get on, see if they're going to be capable of perhaps stepping up into the World Championship or are capable to compete in the World Championship and therefore could step up to Ace. Let's see, Florian Becker, he's coming towards the end of Sector 2. He's on a 17.2 Sector 1, a 36.3 Sector 2. I think the 35.7 was the best Sector 2 time we saw a little while ago. Let's see what Florian Becker's lap time is going to be. It's a 1:10.1. That puts him into 5th place. I think you are right though in that many of the drivers are, well, they're either waiting for rubber to go down, or they're all stuck in the same pit box.
I think Martin Gosby is the only one on a hot lap right now. Just entering sector 2, the twisty bit of the track, and he runs extremely right while braking and abandons his lap.
Well, I am currently looking at a few drivers, and it would appear that there's about 8 drivers sharing the same pit box at the moment. I don't know if you want to show that on camera or not, but that might be one of the reasons why we haven't got a lot of drivers out on track at the moment. I don't know if there's an issue there our race director may want to have a look at.
Yeah, I saw Martin Gosby exiting into the pits, and then there was like an explosion of 4 cars. Well, I'm just looking at Michele Di Alessandro. He did a 70.2 in sector 1. Not too bad. I'm AFK for a minute.
And not too far behind him on track is Martin Stefanko, who's setting himself up for a flying lap, so we may want to jump on board with him after Michele has finished his lap. And so coming through Junckau for Michele Di Alessandro, it's a 35.8 sector 2 time. It's a very good sector 2 time. And let's see if he has improved on his straight line speed. He's already hitting 312, 315 across the line, and it's provisional pole position, a 109.672. A fantastic end to the lap there for Michele Di Alessandro. And Martin Stefanko has started his first flying lap of the session, coming through the Senna S's. So let's see if he can get close to a 17.0 sector 1 time. He's already got the speed through sector 2. It's a 17.1 through sector 1. Many ones in there. Let's see how Martin Stefanko is going to get on. I mean, there is a bit of a risk that for the likes of Stefanko, who know that they're already quick around here, could just push that a little bit too hard throughout the rest of this qualifying session. Although I can't imagine that Martin would do any such thing. I mean, we did talk about the mentality of a driver when you're approaching practice or qualifying or even a race during an ACE broadcast a few weekends ago. Let's see what his sector 2 time is going to be. It's not too bad. It's a 35.9. Michele Di Alessandro was a little bit quicker, but it's possible that Martin has decided to take a little bit of wing off. It could benefit him on the run down to the finish line. Now, is it going to be pole position? No, it's not. It's second place, exactly the same time. A 109.672 from Michele Di Alessandro and Martin Stefanko. And while that happened, Jurni Simoncic is also going to put himself into 3rd place. And Eric Andre's just crossed the line, managed to put himself up into 4th. Let's see who else is out there on track at the moment. Michael Ayres has gone through sector 1. He's down a little bit though compared to everybody else to 17.2. Very committed through turn 7. Using plenty of the apex curbs as well as you can around this particular track. The curbs are quite nice around this circuit. Michael reserving for drillers this week. His normal flag-to-flag car, I think, looks a little bit better, but he'll be happy to be competing in the World Championship. He's gone too aggressive over the curb, and that'll be lap abandoned, unfortunately. Now, Danny van der Niet is just starting a flying lap, and Michele D'Alessandro is making his way out onto track, as Mike Stefanko also about to start a flying lap. Let's see how Danny van der Niet is going to get on. So he's looking for a low 17. It's only a 17.3 sector 1 time. I think a few of the drivers may be a little bit frustrated that there's such a gap. Sort of 17.0 to 17.3, that's a lot of time to be dropping through the first sector alone. Martin Stefanko's just done another 17.1 at sector 1. He likes that particular timing beacon, but Danny van der Niet sitting in 11th place. I mean, to be honest, if he's not going to improve too much, you're probably better off starting in 11th than you are in 10th. At least then you get a choice of which tyre you can use. But he may be able to get a decent slipstream off the Twister car, I think it is, that's ahead of him. No, they're too far ahead. They've bolted already. So let's see what Danny van der Niet is going to be able to complete as Michi Hoyer moves himself into 13th place. But Danny van der Niet crosses the line, and it is only 10th place. Stefanko, he's coming up to the finish line now. He's on a slight improvement on his lap time. Can it steal pole position? Yes, he can by 0.047. It's a marginal gain, but it's enough for provisional pole. Yerny Simičić now heading towards the start-finish line to begin another flying lap.
And Sander Carlos is close to getting provisional pole right now.
Okay, carry on. Tell us about it.
He's just crossing the finish line. And it's provisional power 400 faster. Oh no, 700 faster than Martin Stefanko.
You did very well to do that if you had a bit of food in your mouth as well, because I've dropped that one on you a bit. Sorry about that. So yeah, Sander Carlos does take pole position. Yerny Simičić is on a 17.17 sector 1 time. It's not as quick as Martin Stefanko was. However, it is an improvement on his own lap time. Needs to gain a 10.5 overall to try and take pole position. And let's see, where's Mohammed Patel? Mohammed Patel only sitting in 6th place at the moment. May have to have a look and see how he's getting on soon. He is out on track, I believe, on a warm-up lap at the moment. And Yerny Simičić has abandoned his lap. I'm guessing that Yerny Simičić had delta time on his screen. That he knew he'd lost time and wasn't going to gain. So he's got plenty of time to be able to go and get another lap in. So Mohammed Patel, the Formula SimRacing World Champion, setting himself up to start another flying lap. I believe Michael Ayres is just about to cross the finish line as well. He's currently sitting in 10th place. I'll update you on where he moves to. Stays 10th place, I believe. So Mohammed Patel then, he's currently sitting in 6th place. Takes a very tight line into turn 1. It may benefit him. Oh, runs a little bit wide through turn 2. Heading now down to Decido de Largo. A lot of time can be gained in each of the corners around this track. Oh, but not like that. Mohammed Patel going a little bit deep. He's already down through sector 1. That's going to cost him a little bit more time. And we're surprised if he's going to end up about a 10th down overall, unless he absolutely nails the rest of this sector. Yeah, you do not want to be running wide through turn 4. Well, running wide's not too bad. Having major understeer is what you do not want. He's got a lot of traffic ahead of him as well. I want a little bit of freeze on the screen that I saw there. Hopefully that's not an indicator of further server problems. A little bit twitchy, can't get in out of the way. Mohammed Patel has lost a 10th and a bit, so he's now nearly 2 tenths down overall. And I will say that this isn't looking good potentially for the race, because if he is on a higher wing in the dry, that's going to be very, very painful. And he stays 6th place. It's only a 10.1. So 6 minutes left of the qualifying session then. Sander Carlos currently sitting on pole position. He's in the pit. Stefanko's out on track on an out lap, but Michele D'Alessandro, he has just done exactly what Mohammed Patel did in turn 4, although his sector 1 time wasn't too bad, a 17.272, but I think he may have compromised this sector 2. I'm going to keep watching him, see if he can improve at all. I mean, he's 0.115 off pole position at the moment. Oh, a massive amount of understeer again, and he abandons it. Sergi Edas about to cross the line, currently sitting in 12th, and still sitting in 12th after crossing the line, unable to improve.
I've just switched to Johnny Smucic, who's getting slipstream up out of the last corner again from James Sadler, I think.
You're right, he is. I'm surprised that Yerny's not taken for the tighter line there, but is he going to steal pole? Yes, he does. A 109.508, half a tenth ahead of Sander Callas. And Sander Callas is out on track. He's on an out lap at the moment. He has a Musto ahead of him, which could be Mohamed Patel. It is Mohamed Patel. So Sander Callas is going to back off a little bit and give himself some space, but he has got an opportunity. Stefanko's gone quick in Sector 2. He's been a little bit slow in Sector 1, but he's done a 35.7 in Sector 2. Coming up towards the finish line now. Can he improve enough to gain 2 places? No, he can't. No, he can't. It's oh so close up at the front there. Sander Callas then, he's about to start another flying lap, hard on the brakes into turn 1, locks up, car trying to step out sideways on him through turn 1 and again through turn 3. This is where it's all going to be about how badly are his tyres burning now after the way he's taken turn 1, 2 and 3. There's a 17.2 Sector 1 time. Mohamed Patel has just gone slightly faster than that through Sector 1. Let's see if Sander Callas can continue it on. He's only got to find half a tenth, although he's already 0.071 down overall, so he's got to find a whole tenth to try and gain a position. I will quickly mention as well though, I mean a whole second or less than a second is covering the whole field at the moment. Oh, Sander Callas! Oh, that's not another server issue, is it? Yes, it is. Apologies, folks. So, as it becomes apparently very, very clear that there are major server issues here, I'm sure the race director is going to be banging his head against a wall. Either that or he's just taken off his headset and he's on his way to the pub. But needless to say, that's the second time during a qualifying session that the servers have gone down. Clearly, there is a major, major issue right now with the FSR servers, or should I say the rFactor 2 servers. So if you can, folks, just bear with us a few moments. Peter, you might want to just quickly pop up the muted loading screen so nobody can hear the race director swearing, so we can find out what may be happening. Be back in a few moments, folks.
See you soon.
Hello again, everybody. Once again, apologies for the server issues that we are having today. We are still trying to get the Formula SimRacing World Championship Round 16 underway. The server is open again, and the drivers are going to have the usual warm-up session that they would have, which is about 10 minutes long before we go into the race, using the qualifying result from the qualifying session that was recently near completed. What we're going to do while we wait for the drivers to do the warm-up session and make sure everybody is back in the server, we're just going to quickly play the highlights video from the Suzuka Grand Prix in the Formula SimRacing World Championship, where Mohammed Patel was crowned champion. Hello and welcome to highlights of the Thrustmaster Formula SimRacing World Championship. This event was hosted by the exhilarating Suzuka circuit, which alone is a challenge, so imagine how tough it is in the rain. Well, today that is what the drivers are going to have to deal with as the heavens have opened, depositing more water on the track than a Brit would drink in a lifetime. In the Drivers' Championship standings, Mohammed Patel leads Yerny Simoncic by 60 points and will clinch the title if he finishes on the podium. Whilst in the Constructors, Musto have it all secured, however Go Speed and Flag to Flag are still battling for the silver trophy. In what was a wet qualifying session, Yerny Simoncic was definitely the man on a mission as he took pole ahead of Mohammed Patel. Callas and Stefanko rounded out the second row, and Eric Andre showed an improvement in P11, whilst both Invictus cars and George Chatsipantelis would start from the pits. As the drivers rev their engines in the pouring rain, the main question was, would Patel be able to secure the driver's title? Lights out and the leaders get an equal launch, while Risto Capit stalled on the grid. Turn 1 was clean, but there was plenty of side-by-side action, most notably between Gosby and Maguire. With the pair taking most of Sector 1 next to each other, they showed the quality of World Championship drivers in Formula Sim Racing, even in these difficult conditions. And to show the commentator's curse also works in highlights, unfortunately Gosby lost traction at Dunlop and dropped behind Michi Hoyer. Further down the field, Giordano lost traction, sending him on a one-way ticket into the barriers. Conditions were extremely treacherous here in Suzuka, and keeping it on the black stuff was proving a challenge, as an Eric Andre showed on the second lap. In the battle for 6th, things were about to get interesting as Kish ran wide at Spoon. This allowed Michi Hoyer to get up alongside and apply pressure to Daniel Kish as he tries to steal the position. Gosby also gets close heading into the 130R. However, going into the Casio triangle, Gosby and Kish made contact, this allowing the Go Speed driver of Maguire through into 7th place. An opportunistic move there. We haven't seen them for a while, but Yerny Simoncic is still leading the race with Mohammed Patel right behind him. And now Simoncic is realising that he simply cannot shake off the black and red Musto car of Mohammed Patel. Eventually, the Brits' best opportunity to pass came as Yerny Simoncic made a mistake at Degner 2. This gave Mohammed Patel the opportunity to attack into the hairpin up the inside and make the move to take the lead of the race. Patel wanted to win the championship with a victory. For the Go Speed driver, his car didn't appear to be set up well for the conditions, and that showed when the net wrecks of Callas also passed him at turn 1. Looking a little further down the order, and Michele D'Alessandro was chasing Martin Stefanko, but he tapped the back of him, causing a spin and dropping himself behind Michi Hoyer. It wouldn't take long for him to regain that position though, with a forceful pass at the Spoon curve. Track conditions were continuing to prove tricky for the drivers. Adam Maguire ran off track at turn 1, and upon rejoining he lost control, sending him on a one-way ticket to the barriers. George Chatsapantelis, in his first World Championship race since 2012, also fell victim to the conditions, as in his efforts to fend off Araneda he lost control and wound up in the barriers at the 200R. To the relief of many of the drivers, the rain stopped on lap 15, and a few laps later Sander Kallas took the gamble for the intermediate tyres. He was soon followed by Patel, who had seen Kallas doing fastest laps. Simoncic and Stefanko though decided to take a gamble by staying out on the full wet tyre in the hope the track would dry further and they could go straight to slicks. And despite the improvements, conditions still proved tricky as Hoyer put down the power too quickly on the exit of Degner 2, leaving Gosby with nowhere to go. The result of this, Gosby front wing damage and Michi Hoyer out of the race. Mohamed Patel, now on the intermediate tyre, was setting a blistering pace, and it didn't take long for him to catch Stefanko before passing him around the outside of the Casio triangle. A beautiful move. The Born to Win reserve driver Lucas Schmidt was another guy whose race ended early. As he went to make a move into the pits, he was caught by the nose cone of Masciuli's twister, which sent him rearwards into a race-ending collision with the pit wall. And now we take a look at Arif Roslan, who was the first to make that brave move of switching to the slick tyres. However, he made the switch too early as he put a wheel on the wet stuff and spun into the gravel, and unfortunately also into retirement. The ever closer capability of slick tyres was bad news for Simoncic, because he did not have enough fuel to keep going round for much longer, leaving him with no choice but to pit for the intermediate tyres because the track was just not quite ready for slicks. Rather frustratingly, 4 laps later the track continued to dry and Stefanko was able to pit for a set of primes without having to use the inters at any point. Unsurprisingly, Mohamed Patel opted to play it safe by waiting until lap 36 to make that switch to a set of the option tyres. Sander Kallas was running in second until he put a wheel on the wet at Spoon, a mistake that proved fatal as he careered into the barrier, ending his race. Many drivers suffering in these difficult conditions. Whilst in the battle for what was now second place, staying out an extra lap worked wonders for Simoncic as he jumped Michele D'Alessandro. The Italian was on Go Speed driver's heels until he too made a slight mistake, running off into the grass at turn 2. This allowed the ACR driver of Stefanko to steal his position. Further behind and taking too much speed into turn 1 and moving off the dry line was only going to mean one thing for Daniel Kish. Yep, you guessed it, it cost him his front wing. Lap 44 and another spanner was thrown into the works as it suddenly started to rain again. Simoncic had not passed the pits when this happened and was able to instantly change to the wet tyres. Mohamed Patel though had already passed the pits, which forced him to tiptoe round on slick tyres in treacherous conditions for an entire lap, and although with some difficulties at the Casio triangle, he was able to keep his cool and retain the lead. This new downpour was bad news for Simoncic as his car was not as well set up for the rain as it was the dry. In his final efforts to keep the championship alive, he put the power down too quickly at the hairpin and spun. Now this put Patel out of reach. With Simoncic's mistake and Mohamed Patel's calculated drive, it was an easy run to the flag, and after 53 laps of braving the trickiest of conditions, he crossed the line to not only take his 8th win of the season, but to secure the Drivers' Championship with 2 races to spare. A disappointed Yerny Simoncic crossed the line in 2nd place, knowing his title bid was over. However, he was gracious in his defeat. Whilst Martin Stefanko behind took his first podium since Turkey, closely followed by D'Alessandro and a great showing from Capit. And Eric Andre scores Driller's first ever World Championship points, whilst only 9 drivers saw the checkered flag due to the tricky conditions. Whilst the Drivers' Championship is now secured, the battle for 2nd is not done. Simoncic has a 31-point lead over Martin Gosby. The question is, can the other Brit challenge for the silver trophy? Whilst in the Constructors, the battle between flag to flag and go speed has now been reduced to just 6 points, it's going to be a close battle heading into the final 2 races. Today's race may have sealed the championship for Patel, but the battle for 2nd is still on. The big question is, can Martin Gosby mount a challenge on Yerny Simoncic for 2nd place? We will all be able to find out at the Circuit of the Americas on the 5th of November at 16:30 GMT. If you think you have what it takes, check out the links below and sign yourself up. Keep up to date with Formula Sim Racing by following us on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel for all the live streams and highlights videos. I have been your commentator Dave Paling, and I'd like to personally congratulate Mohamed Patel on becoming the Formula Sim Racing 2017 World Champion. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Hello again for the 14 millionth time today. We are still trying to get ready for the Formula Sim Racing World Championship round 16 in Brazil. We are still going to try and make this happen, folks. This is a test of stamina of the drivers, but also of bladder control of us in the commentary box as well. Although I've got to say, Peter Schulze has been able to order food, receive food, and eat food, so hopefully he's feeling happier today. Okay, Peter, there's about 3 minutes left of the warm-up session. Now, one of the things I believe that, the drivers were given a few minutes in a practice session, 10 minutes in the warm-up session, see if we can sort of test the stability of the server at the moment. Hopefully that's going to happen. So we've got about 2.5 minutes until we get the race underway. Just want to give the viewers a little bit of information. Just in case the server goes down once the race has started and anyone wants to know what the situation would be there. Well, one of the things with Formula Sim Racing is we have rules, and it helps in these kind of situations. If no more than 25% of the race has been completed, then it is open to be restarted. If 50% or more of the race has been completed, it can be said that it is completed, it is official, and scoring half points. If 75% or more of the race has been done, then full points should be scored. So if we can get to lap 55, it'll be full points. And it's a 71 lap race, so if we can get to about lap 36, it'll be half points. Sod's law, we will have issues. It's just the way racing can be sometimes, especially when you get to the last race of the season. So, 1.5 minutes to go at the end of the warm session. Anything you want to add there, Peter?
Not really. I think all of us are waiting and are excited for the race to come. Yeah, and I hope most of our viewers have stuck around with us for the last like 45 minutes.
Yep, it's a little bit like watching a race, an F1 race that's on the other side of the world, and you've got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it rains for 4 hours. Okay, we've got about 1 minute 10 seconds, so I'm going to try and quickly go through the top 10 of the drivers' standings. We'll go through the qualifying order on the formation lap. So the drivers' standings, as we've mentioned a few times, Mohammed Patel, champion, currently on 266 points. Yerny Simoncic in second on 217. Martin Gosby in third on 183. Michi Hoyer in fourth on 128, and a point behind him is Daniel Kish. Michele D'Alessandro is on 92 points, while Martin Stefanko in seventh place is now on 89. So watch out for those two battling it out for who can take that sixth place. In eighth is Eros Masciuli on 59 points. And in ninth we have Sander Callas, the ace champion, on 34 points, and a point behind him is Florian Becker in 10th. And Musto Racing are the Constructors' Champions as well, but there is still a battle between Flag to Flag Brem GP on 241 points and the Go Speed Racing Team, who are on 234 points. So 7 points between those two, and the Go Speed Racing Team will be hoping that full points are scored here today. Okay, won't be long and the drivers will hopefully be forming up on the grid. This is where we all now wait patiently to see if we're going to be able to form the grid or not. And as that is about to start happening, so once the formation lap is underway, we will run through the qualifying order. And Yerny Simoncic, you will be able to see, is going to be on pole position. So, one set of lights about to go out. We've got about 1 minute 40 seconds until the race begins. Yerny Simoncic, as I mentioned, will be starting from pole position for the Go Speed Racing Team. And in second place, we have Sander Callas. What a drive he's been having this season, moving up from ace after winning the championship, coming in to compete in the World Championship for Netrex Grand Prix. In third, we have Martin Stefanko. He's had his and his team's first win in Circuit of the Americas. Let's see how he gets on here today for Avid Chronic Racing. In fourth, we have Michele D'Alessandro for Twister Racing, already on a back foot, starting a position behind Stefanko. Let's see how those two get on today. In fifth, we have Michi Hoyer for Avid Chronic Racing. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on his prime tyres today. Have been a little bit of a dislike for the prime tyres, I think, from Mitchie this season. In 6th place we have an Eric Andre, and it would appear that the nickname Andrex has stuck from what I've been seeing on Discord. So an Eric Andre for Drillers Motorsport. And in 7th place we have Mohammed Patel, and what on earth is he doing that far down? I don't know, but let's see if we can do some overtaking for Musto Racing. In 8th place we have Martin Gosby for Flag to Flag Brem GP. These two I'm sure are going to have a fantastic battle. In 9th place we have in as a reserve Wojciech Lukaszek for Ghost Speed Racing, so he's going to be trying to score points to take the 2nd place in the constructors standings. In 10th we have Risto Capit for Storm Charge Bod Bull, while in 11th we have Florian Becker for Flag to Flag Brem GP. In 12th is Robin Pansar for Born to Win, and in 13th we have Sergi Eras for Musto Racing. In 14th is James Sadler for Ghost Speed Engineering, while in 15th is Danny van der Neet for Netrex Grand Prix. 16th is Michael Ayres in as a reserve for Drillers Motorsport, and in 17th is Mark Hutchinson in as a reserve for Twister Racing. In 18th is Camille Wieswa, who I believe is having a baby, so congratulations to him for Ghost Speed Engineering. And in 19th is Harris Parvez, and 20th Dylan Scrivens, and starting from the pit lane is Jos Araneda. So as we get ready then, the final drivers lining up on the grid. The lights will be going out for a 71 lap race, we hope, around the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. The lights are coming on. Who's going to have the best of starts? Lights out and away we go, and it looks like SimRacing just had a decent start to the race. Although Sander Callas trying to sneak up the inside into turn 2, it's not going to work. Stefanko now trying to have a look up the inside as well. Michi Hoyer has already gained 2 places, going past his teammate now, taking 3rd place. What a phenomenal start for Michi Hoyer. That has dropped Michele D'Alessandro down. Oh, and he nearly loses the car as Mohammed Patel moves up into 6th place, sneaking past an Eric Andre. D'Alessandro's getting aggressive up into turn 6. That was a fantastic start to the race there, Petter. He's looking up the inside. Oh, a bit of contact between the two. I think that was Martin Stefanko. And now Patel trying to get in on the action as well. I will let you speak, Peter. Go on.
So much action, I have no idea what to commentate on.
No, same here. Phenomenal start from Yerny Simoncic, but I've got to say, start of the day, potentially start of the season for Michi Hoyer. I think Michele D'Alessandro is angry that he's lost out the positions that he has. And Mohammed Patel, I think, is lucky to a degree to still have the front wing on his car. So lap 1 completed. And Michi Hoyer, I hope he's going to carry on the pace that he's had in that opening lap. See if he can go and put some pressure on Sander Callas, as I think Dylan Scrivens is making moves. He and Mark Hutchinson having a bit of a battle.
Oh, there was a huge crash out of turn 3 with Robin Panzer and I think Danny van der Neet. Panzer getting sideways and van der Neet collecting him, both going flying out of the track.
Okay, yeah, when I jumped onto Mark Hutchinson, I did see a car getting a little bit airborne. It's not flying here, guys, but unfortunately for that driver, it is, and his race is probably over now. Yeah, Pansar and van der Neet out of the race, unfortunately.
I will show a quick replay. 1 second. Oh. There it is. Oh, so there was he had a bit of an oversteering moment out of turn 3, and Robin Panzer, he was catching his car, got a little off tap from Danny van der Neet from behind, which unsettled his car again, and then he went sideways and van der Neet into his side pod, and both went flying.
Oh yeah, massively unfortunate, massively unfortunate. I mean, especially when you've been sort of sitting around waiting for 40-45 minutes to get the race going, and it's all over on lap 1. And let's see, I'm just having a quick look at Martin Gosby. Mohammed Patel has got past him, as we know, and then Eric Andre is trying to apply some pressure. So Gosby not able to make any moves just yet. Just to let everybody know, we've mentioned a little bit about strategy earlier on. Peter was talking about 2 stops, I was mentioning about potentially 3. But what are we thinking, Peter? Pit window opens anywhere from lap 17, 18 onwards?
Yeah, probably something like around 20 plus minus 2 laps.
Okay, well, the prime tyres around here, you mentioned as well that the tyre wear is not that big around this particular circuit, and it isn't. The prime tyres will last a long time. The only problem is you've got to have a hell of a lot of fuel on board if you want to maximise that, so you have to work out whether it's better to have high fuel and just stay out, or low fuel and be quicker and just absolutely hammer the tyres.
And Dylan Scrivens and House Powers are fighting right now against each other like in Pro today. Right behind them, Mark Hutchinson, I think. Oh no, Sergi Harris actually. Nearly going 3 right down to turn 4.
Interesting situation here. Flag to flag drivers reserving for different teams, and I bet there's going to be no love lost, shall we say. There's no team orders in this one, that's for certain. I was going to mention that Michi Hoyer was getting very close to Sander Callas. He is very close to him, coming into Young Cow, the final corner, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to have a look. So if you want to keep an eye on the battle you are watching there, Peter, you can, and I'll let you know if anything kicks off up at the front. Yeah, Michi Hoyer not close enough, unfortunately. Sander Callas has got phenomenal straight line speed. Hoyer was doing 322 kilometers an hour, and Sander Callas was pulling away from him by the looks of things. And Martin Stefanko is beginning to close in on them as well, and that's going to allow Michele D'Alessandro to catch as well.
And Sergio was getting closer to Dylan Scrivens. Dylan going defensive into turn 4. But they're still battling. Sergi going, oh, that was close, trying to make a move into turn 5, but Dylan covered the line.
I think Michi Hoyer maybe, I was going to say maybe close enough to attack if he can have a decent final corner. He has. Michi Hoyer is going to be within pouncing distance, but Martin Stefanko is right on Hoyer's gearbox as well. It all depends on whether Sander Callas' top speed is as good as I was saying. It is. Michi Hoyer is just not really gaining on him. So although he looked in position to attack, he's not even been able to have a sniff. Now, while Michi Hoyer and Martin Stefanko are kind of stuck a little bit behind Sander Callas, it is allowing Michele D'Alessandro to close the gap. Mohamed Patel is closing the gap as well, and he's bringing Martin Gosby along with him, who's also bringing Eric Andre. He is ever so close up at the front at the moment. Anybody makes a single mistake, they're going to lose a lot of positions. Let's see, battles are very close all the way down. Jurni Simoncic, though, he has got himself a 2.5 second gap up at the front, and that is exactly what he wants right now. But yeah, Peter, if you're right on board with Michi Hoyer, I don't think he's close enough to get slipstream on this occasion. He's going to have to be careful of Stefanko behind him, but you'll be able to see that Sander Callas is just ridiculously quick in a straight line. And I'm going to have a quick look. I mean, let's see. Sander Callas is doing 320 kilometers an hour without any slipstream. No.
You know what? I think ACR has set up the car wrong. They're hitting the ref limiter at 320 kph, if I just saw that correctly at Stefanko.
Oh dear. Well, I think Michi Hoyer got to 322, but if you're getting 322 in slipstream and the car ahead's doing 320, you're not going to pass him. So Sander Callas may become a little bit of a train driver here, simply because he's too damn quick on a straight. And Martin Gosby getting ever so close to the back of Mohamed Patel now as well. But to be honest, Gosby just really should be a little bit patient here, because Michele D'Alessandro is almost on the back of this this train from second onwards, which means that Patel and Gosby are going to catch them up fairly quickly as well. Let's see how Michi Hoyer gets on this occasion. Yeah, he's not getting a good enough exit out of Junção, and while this is all going on, Jurny Simoncic again just opening up that gap up at the front. And as it is around Brazil, I mean, we've not been racing for very long and we're already on to the 8th lap of the race. There's such a short circulation of tarmac around here that the laps pass by very, very quickly. It does mean that it, as I mentioned, if you make a tiny mistake... Oh, as Michi Hoyer has! Stefanko trying to go over the inside through turn 5. He's going to be stuck out on the outside. No, he has. He's got through. I didn't fully see what Michi Hoyer did. I was looking in the distance and saw that they were very, very close. I don't know if you saw it there, Peter.
He was just running a little bit too wide into turn 4 and then caught the Astra on the outside of the exit.
So easy to do as well. I mentioned during qualifying that, yeah, you don't want to run too wide.
And that means that Michele D'Alessandro is right up to Michi Hoyer right now.
Oh yeah, he is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Michele D'Alessandro has got a rather high top speed. Let's have a look. I mean, we know that Michi Hoyer can do about 322 with slipstream, but Stefanko is already dropping him. But I don't think Stefanko's got the straight line speed. Oh, Michele D'Alessandro, 328 kilometers an hour. Yeah, if he's close enough, he's going to have no... Oh, Stefanko just lost it. Maybe ACR just want to have as much coverage as possible, change positions. But yeah, I mean, he did very, very well to actually save the car there, Peter.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, God.
I was just going to say, with those couple of mistakes, that's really given Sander Callas a bit of a breather. Stefanko now struggling a little bit. He may have overheated his tyres, which can punish you. I mean, this is a circuit where if you overheat your tyres in, say, turns 6 and 7, it can punish you all the way towards the end of the lap. But, yeah, interesting switching of positions there. Definitely not team orders. But, yeah, if D'Alessandro can get close enough... Oh, poor final corner from him. I was going to say, if he can get close enough, he'll make moves easily on the ACR guys. Stefanko, though, is he close enough?
I'm just having a look at Stefanko again. If he hits the ref limiter at 320.
Yep, so nothing he can do then really about Michi Hoyer. He may have to have a look heading down into turn 4 if he can get a better exit. Although his confidence might be shaken a little bit given the nature of how he took that corner last lap around. No, he's close enough. He's going to have a look. He's going to chuck it up the inside. Is Hoyer going to defend it? No, he isn't. And that's probably because his teammate Stefanko makes a lovely move up the inside into turn 4. And that puts Michi Hoyer out of shape a little bit and may put him a little bit at risk of Michele D'Alessandro. But hopefully Michele won't go trying to overtake in a place that's too risky. I mentioned as well that Patel and Gosby will catch these guys, and they have. Mohamed Patel is, what, half a second behind them? There's not much, yeah, just over half a second behind. So these guys are really going to come into play, and Eric Andre's there as well, and Wojciech Lukaszek all over the back of an Eric Andre. Camille Weiser has got himself up into 10th as well. He's got a little bit of clear air, but with traffic he may be able to catch up. Well, after a rather difficult, dull session from qualifying to the race, I mean, the race has been absolutely phenomenal so far. All Wojciech Lukaszek having a little bit of a look at an Eric Andre, who got himself a little bit out of shape, but holding position at the moment. Sander Callas has been able to, with that breather he's been given, just open up a nice little gap. Looking a lot more comfortable. He can try and focus on whether he can catch Jurny Simoncic. I have just had a little bit of a look further down the field. There is a little bit of a battle, sort of 15th, 16th, Parves, Scrivens, but I think not going to be much happening there at the moment. Go on, Peter, what you got?
Just behind them, Mark Hutchinson and Joss Arenada side by side out of turn 4, and Arenada manages to overtake Hutchinson into turn 6.
Okay, good stuff. Just want to quickly mention as well, Florian Becker is the first guy on the prime tyre. He's currently sitting in 12th place. He's going to need probably, what, 20, 25 seconds? I can't say I actually worked out the pit stop delta. But yeah, Florian Becker is the guy to keep an eye on, folks, for when the leaders are going to pit. That could be any time within the next 8 laps. So let's see how they get on in reference to Florian Becker.
And Mohamed Patel is forming a bit of a train behind him with Gosby and Eric Andre and Wojciech Lubishek.
Well, maybe he just doesn't want ACR to have all of the coverage, so he's backing up Martin Gosby. Obviously, that is not what is going to be happening. More than likely, Mohamed Patel is kind of driving, looking, he can see what's happening ahead of him with those 3 guys. I think Mohamed Patel is just driving in a way at the moment, as he has done all year, looking after his tyres, so he can go those few laps longer and make an overcut work. What he's going to have to be careful of is Gosby, Andre and Lukaszek behind them. He's got to be careful of them getting a little bit feisty and seeing if they can make any moves.
Oh, Gosby a little bit sideways out of the last turn.
That could give an Eric Andre a chance. No, Gosby's a little bit too quick in a straight line. And Eric Andre trying to close the gap a little bit, but he's topping out at 3:21. That's why an Eric Andre isn't making any motions on Martin Gosby at the moment. I must admit, I'm surprised to see drivers topping out. I mean, I don't know about you, Peter, but I mean, getting your 7th gear is so, getting your 7th gear right is so crucial. I mean, one of the things that I tend to do is I want to know what speed my car can do when I'm slipstreaming a car that's getting slipstream, because that way that tells me what the maximum speed I'm going to be able to get. So seeing these guys topping out at 320, 321 is very much a surprise to me.
Yeah, it's very strange. Normally that's something like you test.
Oh, and Eric Andre sideways. Sorry, and Eric Andre very sideways.
Yeah, normally that's something you test and you see how your top speed is. And oh, I think Pavis made a mistake. He just lost 4 positions. Let's take a look.
Just hold on a second, because I think Wojciech Lukaszek has got a chance. Yes, he has. He's on the back of an Eric Andre. And with an Eric Andre's speed, he's going to be limited side by side. There you go. Let's see Wojciech Lukaszek. Yep, around the outside, but an Eric Andre trying to fight it back. Wheel to wheel through turn 2, a bit of contact. Trying to give each other room. They're still side by side. Oh, and then Eric just about gives enough room there, but they're still side by side, so that's 4 corners they're about to try, and it looks like Wojciech may have to back out of it. Yes, he does. It was unfortunate there that he wasn't able to make the move. Sorry to cut you off there, Peter.
Okay, let's take a look at the replay of Pavis. Coming out of turn 4 to turn 5. Oh, he did, I think. Oh, that's interesting. He won the entry of turn 6 a bit too narrow, like run over the curb, and then on the exit curb on the left side he completely lost it.
It's very easy to do through those corners, yeah. Or just seen the replay of it. The exit curb there, so treacherous if you get it slightly wrong. Now, I mentioned that behind Wojciech Lukaszek is Kamil Wiesra, who had a bit of clear air ahead of him. He hasn't got any clear air ahead of him anymore, because he's right on the back of Wojciech Lukaszek as well. Kamil will have a high capability of speed. It's just the way that he likes to set his cars up, from what I've seen in many races this season. And looking up at the front, Martin Stefanko's closing in on Sander Kallas. He's closing in quite a lot on Sander Kallas.
I think it was important to let Martin by. Well, it wasn't really letting him by, but letting Martin overtake from Michi. So Martin can catch up to Sander. Michi now gets a gap to D'Alessandro. But the problem now is Stefanko has an even lower top speed than Michi Hoyer, and Michi Hoyer already couldn't get close to Sander Kallas down the straight.
True, but it is possible that if Martin is running a higher wing, that he may be able to get better exits out of the final corner, out of turn 3, to perhaps attack Sander Kallas. But as you said, yeah, he's got a lower top end speed, so it is not going to be easy for him. Mohamed Patel getting a little bit closer to D'Alessandro, but 1.3 seconds between them. And now then Eric Andre has dropped right off the back of Martin Gosby. I think we're getting into that phase as well, where these options... Oh, and Eric Andre makes a mistake on the exit of turn 4. He got all over the exit curb. That compromised him massively, but it was just far enough ahead that it's not going to cost him the position. But yeah, I think we're getting to that stage of the race now where these option tyres are really starting to hurt. The difficulty for the drivers is they don't want to pit too soon. So they've got to drive through the pain right now if they want to maximise their strategy options. But once again, I mean, Martin Stefanko is what, 0.7 of a second behind Sander Kallas, but we know he's not going to be able to attack on the straights. Oh, Stefanko getting ever so twitchy through the centre S's.
Camille Rougeros in the pits right now. I think he will start a wave of pit stops with his early pit stop, I would say.
Yep. I think Wojciech Lukaszek and Eric Andre just had a little bit of a battle as well, but I'll have a look at Camille Wieswa and see where he is going to return to the track. It's pretty much going to be dead last on a set of prime tyres for Camille Wieswa, but he'll hope that most drivers ahead of him are just going to be pulling out of his way. You never know, he may be able to jump the guys that were ahead of him if he can pump in some decent lap times on a brand new set of prime tyres. Stefanko, I think he may have just got a little bit sideways out of Young Cow.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I jumped on board... Oh, is that Yerny Simicic into the pits? Yes, it is. So a potentially surprising early stop then for Yerny Simicic. Is he going to come out in traffic? I mentioned earlier on, folks, to keep an eye on Florian Becker. He's the first of the drivers to be on the prime tyre. He's going to be running long, and I've got a feeling that Yerny Simicic may come out behind him. It's going to be close between the two as Becker coming through turn 1 now. Where is Yerny Simicic? No, Simicic is going to be ahead. That was absolutely crucial for Yerny Simicic, but that does mean that Sander Kallas, Stefanko, anybody sort of first to fourth now is potentially going to come out into traffic. Stefanko is all over the back of Sander Kallas. Like really all over the back. I think he's gaining so much in sector 2 that it's given him hope for the overtake, but Sander Kallas' straight line speed is just too strong. Are either of these guys going to head into the pits? I've got a feeling Kallas will go on for at least another lap. Yes, he does, and so does Stefanko. So just having a look at where the closest battle may be. The closest battle I can see up at the front or in the top 10 is Kallas and Stefanko. After that it's an Eric Andre and Wojciech Lukaszek with Risto Capit trying to catch up to them as well. But I don't think it's going to be long until the drivers in the top 9 now are going to be heading into the pits. Yeah, through sector 2, I mean, Stefanko's able to really close that gap, get it down to less than half a second. Sander Kallas has ran wide. That's a major mistake from him. The tyres are hurting. This is where Stefanko needs to capitalise. He needs to be right on his gearbox, coming in and out of this final corner. Whether it's going to be for an in-lap or continuing on for the rest of this lap, that's where he needs to capitalise the most, set up the whole of sector 1 and sector 2 to be close into that final corner.
But Stefanko's already hitting his rev limiter before the finish line. There's no way that he can come close to Sander Kallas.
Yeah, I mean, even if he was able to attempt an overtake in Sector 2 as Lukaszek and Capet pit, yeah, if he attempts an overtake and makes it stick in Sector 2, he's going to lose the position heading down into Turn 1 on the next lap.
He's even hitting the ref limiter going down to Turn 4. So even there, he's not able to, like, catch up enough because he can't get any faster when he hits the ref limiter.
Yep, very, very true. Now, I mentioned that Kamil Wieswer may be able to jump a couple of positions. He's not going to be able to because he's right behind Haris Parvez. Wojciech Lukaszek has just come out ahead of Haris Parvez.
Dylan spun.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, Wojciech Lukaszek just managed to get out ahead of Haris Parvez there, but Kamil is going to be compromised. He's stuck behind a driver going long on a set of old prime tyres. No, he's not. He's going for the move.
Stefanko's pitting.
Stefanko into the pits then. Yeah, you won't have seen, if you were looking at Stefanko, you won't have seen that move that Kamil Wieswer just did. You know what? That was a lovely little overtake. If you're able to show a replay of that at some point, it might be worth it. But
afterwards, I will also show the replay of Dylan DNF.
He'll love you for that.
Sneaky little move there.
It was. I like it. I like it. Okay, Stefanko, he's coming out of the pits in 9th place, just ahead of James Sadler. Go on.
Okay, so Dylan and Sergi were going side by side out of turn 4. Dylan lost it on the exit curb and spun right into Sergi. Yeah, DNF'd.
Oh dear, oh dear. Told you there'd be no love lost between those guys. Okay, Sander Callas, Michi Hoyer, D'Alessandro, Patel. Are any of you guys going to be pitting this lap? I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Callas isn't though, he's continuing on. Michi Hoyer signals nice and early, he's heading into the pit lane. D'Alessandro follows him. Patel, no surprise, he's going on for more. He always wants more. And Eric Andre also into the pits. So Yerni Simicic, who's now sitting in 7th place, is potentially going to get himself back up to 4th. Yes, he is. As the pit lane is very, very busy. I think Michi Hoyer may have to be very careful because D'Alessandro, who's right up his gearbox, could get very racy on the way out of the pits here. He can't, no, he can't afford to. Too much dirty air understeer coming out of the pits. Okay, just ahead of them. This is going to test you now, Peter. Michael Ayres on the back of James Sadler for 7th and 8th. Now, from what I can gather, both of these guys started on the prime tyre. They could be going anywhere from another 5 to 12 laps on these compound of tyre, meaning anybody behind them could be suffering a bit of pain stuck behind quick cars on old prime tyres. Martin Stefanko's losing a bit of time on the back of Florian Becker, so Stefanko was caught out by Becker, the lead prime tyre runner. Is he going to have enough pace to make the move down into turn 1 as Sander Callas into the pits?
Gosby pitting as well. Oh no, he's not. It looked like he were going to the pits.
I don't. Stefanko.
Florian Becker, I mean, not Gosby. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Stefanko hasn't got the straight line speed to pass Florian Becker.
Oh, and Michael Ayres and James Sadler side by side into turn 1. Oh, a bit of contact in turn 3 there. There might be another move into turn 4, but I think Michael Ayres is too far away. Okay, go ahead.
So I was just going to say that Stefanko, yeah, he can't make a move on Becker.
Spun again. Parvez DNF'd.
It's a shame for Haris Parvez. Stefanko, no! Oh, I think he's giving the position back. He is. He realised he made a mistake there. I don't think he was going for the overtake. I think he just locked up. I know he's probably getting frustrated that he's stuck at the moment and he's getting caught by Sander Callas. And the reason he's getting frustrated is, from what I can see, Stefanko's on the option tyre. Sander Callas is on the prime tyre and he's behind him. So Stefanko needs to make the move and pull away, but he can't do it. He's ever so close to Becker now, though. Now he needs to make it work. is going to struggle with his top end, but with the better tyre, he may be able to go all the way around the outside. He's going to try it. Can you risk it up the inside? No, he can't.
No.
Well, he can try, but there's contact, and that's going to put Sander Kallas right on his gearbox.
I don't think if we have mentioned it yet, but Stefanko undercut Sander Kallas, who is now up right up behind him again because he's stuck behind Becker.
Yep, and Michael Ayres and James Sadler side by side again through turn 4. Looks like Michael Ayres has got the move done through 4, but James is trying to hang it up the inside of turn 6, and he is doing so. A bit of contact between the two, and Michael Ayres manages to keep hold of the position. Now Michi Hoyer is all over the back of James Sadler as well. So he's got Michi Hoyer, Michele D'Alessandro and Mohamed Patel breathing down his neck. I'm trying to think. Oh, Michi Hoyer chucking it up the inside.
Oh no!
No, there's contact between the two.
And D'Alessandro is now also past James Sadler as well as Mohamed Patel.
Well, aren't we into an interesting bit of the race
and
now
Patel
as well?
Is right up as the rear wing of D'Alessandro.
Not only that, just behind them, Gosby is on the back of James Sadler as well. But yeah, Mohamed Patel going to try and make the move on Michele D'Alessandro. But D'Alessandro's covering him off and makes it difficult. Oh, Gosby! I don't know if that was brave or not, but I think it could have been a bit risky.
The top speed problem with ACR means that D'Alessandro managed to close down the gap to Michi Hoyer just down the straight, while getting attacked from Mohamed Patel.
Yep, I tell you what, it is all kicking off. Now, Martin Stefanko has managed to get past Florian Becker, which means that Sander Kallas has now got the problem of trying to get past Florian Becker. This race has come alive in this middle stint now. Absolutely going mental. I mean, we've still got, what, the top 12 guys within 15 seconds of each other. This is absolutely balmy. Sander Kallas, we've not seen his sort of potential of straight line speed yet, I don't think, but he's now had the best of exits out of Young Cow. Becker into the pits, that frees up Kallas, so we're still not going to see what kind of straight line speed Sander Kallas can get up to. So Florian Becker into the pits, as I mentioned, Sadler into the pits as well. So they've decided to go 25 laps on their prime compound tyre. Risto Capit is all over the back of Camille Wieswer. Excuse me. Risto has gone for a second set of option tyres, but he's got so many cars ahead of him. I think he's just going to burn them up before he can gain places. So, what can we make of the last 8 laps then, Peter?
I think this is one of the most exciting races so far this season, action-wise. And I think that's down to the fact that the grid is a bit mixed up today because of our shortened qualifying.
I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you. Let's see, Michael Ayres, he's running in 4th place at the moment. He's got Michi Hoyer right behind him, and he's got a whole train of cars behind Michi Hoyer.
I think D'Alessandro might do a move onto Michi Hoyer soon, because of the big top speed advantage.
Yep, you definitely could. Well, Michael Ayres hasn't pitted yet. He's going long on his prime tyre. But yeah, I mean, if Michi Hoyer doesn't make moves, then D'Alessandro definitely will, I reckon. But obviously, Michi Hoyer does have the benefit of getting the slipstream. But as we know, he is massively limited on that straight line speed. Now, you mentioned as well that Stefanko jumped Kallas. Yes, he did. I spotted it when Kallas was trying to fight Florian Becker. But I don't know if this is going to work for Martin Stefanko. He's on the option tyres now, and even if he can catch up to Yerny Simoncic, he's still got to run the prime tyre. So Sander Kallas only being, what, 2.8 seconds behind him, isn't losing enough time.
Michi close to Michael Ayres, really close. Michael has a bit of problem on his tyres, I think, all through sector 2. But Michael seemed to have much better top speed.
D'Alessandro could try and make the move here. Hoyer's got A 332. Oh, and contact.
Oh.
That's D'Alessandro off the track. That's Michael Ayres suffering a massive loss of time there. That's going to move Mohamed Patel into position to attack down into turn 4. So he's going to switch to the inside and have a look up the inside. As in the background, and Eric Andre trying to make a move on Martin Gosby. That hasn't worked though, unfortunately. I'm wondering, I mean, it may be easy for people to sit there and go, oh, Michael.
Oh, and Eric Andre. Oh my god. Okay, so Eric Andre going down the inside in turn 6 and D'Alessandro hitting Michael Ayres, spinning him out.
And also Martin Gosby and an Eric Andre are now side by side as well. I mean, we thought we'd seen all we could see so far in this middle stint. It's still kicking off. I was going to say that I think Michele D'Alessandro may have been caught out with the speed that he got down into turn 1. They've been used to getting about 320, 324 down there. On that occasion, 332 kilometres an hour, and just braked a little bit too late and couldn't stop the car. And everything that happened after that, it was a cause of that.
Lukaszek DNF'd? What happened there?
That is a good question.
That isn't... Ah, that was a disconnect.
Massive shame for Wojciech Lukaszek there then. Well, I don't know if you want to show a replay of what happened sort of from turn 1 and then what happened after that. I don't know if you'd be able to pick them out.
I think I found it. Okay, so that's now the replay of turn 1 with D'Alessandro Hoyer and Mike Ayres. Okay, and then we have Andre down in turn 6. Yeah. That's Andre getting around onto Martin Gosby and going up the inside in turn 6, and I think you can see right up in front of him where D'Alessandro runs into Michael Ayres. Yeah, there you can see it.
Well, for anyone that had to sit there through the pain of the wait for the start of this race, hopefully you've been repaid in these first 30 laps of the final race of the season. Quick update for you as well. Stefanko is closing the gap on Yerny Simoncic, but Simoncic is on the prime tyre, will have a much higher fuel load. Stefanko still yet to use the prime tyre. Mohamed Patel is closing in a little bit on Michi Hoyer. Both of those guys are on the prime tyre. And Eric Andre in 6th place is on the options. So he's got a chance of catching these guys up. But there's probably only, another 8 or 9 laps for him on this particular compound of tyre. Martin Gosby is very close to the back of an Eric Andre and is on the prime tyre. Michele D'Alessandro, after all of his ventures, is down in 8th place at the moment.
And Jost Arenada and Michael Ayres both pitting for the first time, getting rid of their prime set.
And yep, putting on the option tyre, so they'll probably run option to the end of the race on this one as well. It may be close between Hutchinson and Arenada on pit exit. No, Arenada manages to stay ahead. James Sadler just ahead of them as well. But what an epic last 20 minutes we've just had here in Brazil. Absolutely mental, but great stuff. I mean, sometimes accidents happen in racing. Obviously nobody wants to see anybody wiped out on purpose, but yeah, sometimes accidents do happen. A little bit like accidentally not having a long enough 7th gear. or accidentally being caught out by your top speed when you're hitting 332 kilometers an hour. Michi Hoyer getting a little bit out of shape. Mohammed Patel, I mentioned, was getting close. He's right on the back of him. He's really, really close. I think Mohammed Patel may have a better straight line speed than Michi Hoyer.
I think he does, yeah.
I mean, usually at this point we would look at the live timing. Apologies for struggling to get my words out. I'm starving. Yeah, we'd usually have the live timing so we could have a look at drivers' best top speed, but unfortunately the live timing not working. We're not able to see that at will. Although actually, I don't know if you're able to do it, Peter. You may be able to do it on the broadcast and show all of the drivers' top end speeds. I'm just curious as to whether Michi Hoyer is sort of one of the lowest.
So Michi Hoyer, oh no, actually he's running a longer 7th gear than Stefanko. Michi Hoyer managed 328.5 in the slipstream. Patel is on about 331. So he's 3 kph faster in the slipstream, and yeah, compared to Martin Stefanko, for example, he only hits 320.9.
Yeah, that's painful. That's definitely painful. But I mean, some people may. I know I mentioned it earlier. We've talked about straight line speed, and like I said, I'm surprised that people would do that. There is a reason why people may go with a slightly shorter 7th gear, and it's for the situation that Stefanko's in now. On a clear track, it can potentially be faster. It just means that when you're slipstreaming, you can't overtake. So you get a massive gain, but you get a lot of pain if you're trying to make moves. Now, if Stefanko had been able to qualify on pole and control the race and lead and pull away, whole different situation for him. Mohammed Patel though may be able to have a look at Michi Hoyer.
Yeah, he's getting ever so close.
And he has a look up the inside. That's the benefit of the extra speed, but there's contact between the two of them. And Michi Hoyer says, you're not doing it like that, my friend. If you want it, you're going to have to work a little bit harder and try and make it a little bit cleaner than you did then. Hoyer going defensive. Now Patel is going to have to go around the outside. And Patel squeezing Hoyer there.
Oh, in contact again. Oh, that was close. Oh, and a nice switchback of Mohammed Patel. Oh, and another contact.
I think you may have caught Michi Hoyer by surprise there. These guys are bumping wheels quite a lot. That was a lovely bit of driving from Mohammed Patel. But now, who's that? Who's that? Is that an Eric Andre? It is. Trying to sneak up into the slipstream. So Mohammed Patel goes from nearly making a beautiful overtake to now having to defend.
Oh, Michi runs right out for the last turn. I think let's chop down for Mohammed now. That surely will be an easy move for Mo.
Well, and Eric Andre, he may try taking the both of them here. He's following Hoyer. He's having a look. Be patient, and Eric, be patient, because if they make a mistake, you can benefit. But who's that? That's Martin Gosby getting in on the action. The bearded wonder from Formula Sim Racing and Flag to Flag Brem GP. He now goes to trying to make a move on an Eric Andre around the outside on the prime tyre. Too twitchy, has to back out of it. Well, I thought 5 laps ago we'd probably had the best action we were going to have in this race. I was wrong. I was very, very wrong.
Yeah, I think all of them are showing us what they've got in the last round of the season.
Definitely are. Now, with all of those guys battling, that's allowing Michele D'Alessandro to catch them up. Martin Stefanko has got the gap to Simičić down to just over 3 seconds. But, as I mentioned, they've got to change tyres in the near future. So, can Mohammed Patel have another run? I think he's too far behind on this occasion. I will quickly mention there is an interesting little battle going on further down the order. Jos Araneda, Sadler, Hutchinson, all quite close at the moment. Michael Ayres trying to catch him. Go on, Peter.
Gosby and Eric side by side for a bit there. Bit of touching into turn 4. And Patel is getting closer again to Michihaya.
That he is. A big puff of smoke coming from Patel's tyres there as well. I mean, it's so easy to lock a wheel here around this circuit. Stefanko still trying to close that gap. Sander Kallas has sort of held station now at about 9 seconds behind Simoncic. And Gosby has lost a little bit too much time through the end of sector 2 there. But is Patel going to be able to attack again? No, he's not. Now, thinking about it, I mean, Martin Stefanko, I'm trying to think when it was he pitted. I think it was about lap 18, 19, I am guessing here. So he's probably going to be pitting within the next 2 to 3 laps. I can't imagine he'll go more than 20 on a set of the option tyre. If he does 3 more laps, pit on lap 40, do 31 on the primes maybe. It'd be interesting to see how that works out. The problem is, I think if he was to pit now, Hutchinson, just made a move on James Sadler. That was down into turn 1, I believe. Hutchinson on the option tyre, using slipstream, but Sadler coming right back at him now. But you're not going to want to try and go around the outside of turn 4. You've got to have confidence in the person you're racing with. Mark giving him plenty of room. Sadler now up the inside into 5 and 6. That'll be move done. It is. Yeah, I was mentioning as well, for Martin Stefanko, whenever he pits, he's coming out into traffic. And that is going to hurt.
Yeah, he will come out right into this battling group for P4, I think. Or right behind them.
Yeah, and only one of those guys is on the option tyre, meaning that they're going to be going for, probably until about lap 50. So he's going to have a good 10, 11 laps following guys that are on old prime tyres, but much less fuel than him. Now, while all of this has been going on, we've pretty much not mentioned Yerny Simoncic at all, because he's been boring today, giving us no action whatsoever. He will probably have no idea what is going on behind him in this race, other than seeing that a few people are switching position now and again. Hopefully, even if he doesn't get to see himself much on the broadcast, he'll still be able to enjoy watching it back. And let's see, is Patel... Since Patel had his last real attack on Michihaya, he's not been able to get close enough. Can't get anywhere near Michihaya.
No. Maybe he has overheated his tires a little bit, or Michi has picked up his pace.
Possibly, it might be that as the fuel has burnt off for Michihaya, his car has got quicker. Risto Kappa is into the pits. Although it is possible that with the amount of bumping that those guys were doing, it's possible that they do have a little bit of damage. That could be compromising Mohammed Patel. When I was riding on board, I wouldn't say I saw any sort of steering wheel angle being applied to the car, but sometimes damage doesn't affect the steering wheel as such. We'll have to wait and see if he ends up on the podium afterwards. We may be able to find out if he is carrying damage. Gosby ever so close to the back of an Eric Andre, but ran a little bit wide through Young Cow. I don't think he's going to be close enough on this occasion to attack. He's not. Although he has got a very good straight line speed. He is gaining, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. No, he's not. But yeah, Gosby does have a good straight line speed. Okay, Stefanko, is he going to pit? this lap, or is he going to pit next lap? I must admit, if I was him though, and I was looking at the position of the drivers and how far behind they are, I would not be liking what I'm looking at, because if he comes out behind those guys, he's going to be stuck in a train, and it's basically going to... It's going to negate any benefit of him having used these option tyres. Yerny Simoncic into the pits. He's on the prime tyre.
Is he doing another prime stint? He must be. Let's take a
look.
No.
No, he's on options.
Is he doing a 3-stopper?
Well, I mean, to put that into perspective, he's ran the option and primes and pitted before Martin Stefanko, who's ran option and option.
That's interesting, and he's coming out wide into this group right here.
Maybe he heard what I was saying about giving us no action, because, oh, who's that? Is that Gosby off the track?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Maybe he's just wondering what Yerny Simoncic was doing. Okay, maybe we should put the camera on Yerny Simoncic and see if he's got an answer for what I was saying.
Maybe he has underfueled his car on the last stop. Or put the wrong tire on this stop. Could be anything. Or maybe he just wants some action.
Well, I mean, that is true. I mean, if he was fueled for the options but selected the primes, once it's done, there's nothing you can do about it other than run. I mean, I do know that Camille Wieswer, in a wet race recently, when it rained like 8 laps from the end of the race,
oh, and
he
Simoncic is getting close to Patel now.
He is, but has Simoncic got straight line speed?
Yes.
We've not seen it.
Yes, he has. He's going up the inside. Oh, Patel brakes a bit later. There's more contact for Patel.
Fantastic bit of driving from the two of them, but I won't be surprised if Patel tries to attack back. But Yerny Simoncic says you are not having the inside line here.
And right behind them, Gosby against an Eric Andre. Gosby is past an Eric Andre. Oh, and an Eric Andre spins out while touching Gosby, who loses a position to D'Alessandro.
Well, yeah, D'Alessandro manages to gain 2 places there. Mohamed Patel still all over the back of Yerny Simoncic, and I wouldn't be surprised if Yerny Simoncic... Well, let's put it this way. I'll know if Yerny watches this back when he messages me saying, how'd you like that action, mate? It took you 1 lap and he's making moves. But if he is on a 3-stop strategy, he's got to make moves.
Yeah, he basically gave the win away just to have some fun, I think. Or,
Stefanko into the pits.
Maybe he made a mistake on his pit stop, who knows.
Well, Stefanko is into the pits and he's now running the prime tyre, but we also know that the overcut can benefit massively. So it'd be interesting to see if Stefanko... No, Stefanko's going to come out a long way behind. A long way behind Yerny Simoncic. And he is on the prime tyre now as well.
I wonder if he made a mistake because he was only 2 seconds behind Yerny Simoncic before his pit stop. And Yerny was also in traffic and battling.
Yeah. He must have had a spin.
He lost 7 seconds, I think. 6 or 7 seconds now in the 2 laps.
Well, I mean, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it is 6 seconds. 8 seconds overall is lost then. Well, he's definitely lost a lot of time. But then saying that, if he's on a long prime stint now, that may be one of the things that Yerny Simoncic all over the back of Michi Hoyer, by the way. But yeah, if Yerny Simoncic is doing a shorter fuel amount in the car, it takes less time to put it in. And look at the speed he's got here. Going around the outside of Michi Hoyer, who feels a little bit like a sitting duck at the moment. Yerny Simoncic into 2nd place, but he's got to get a shift on if he is making an extra pit stop. But yeah, so it is possible that Martin Stefanko lost the extra time for the time it takes to put the fuel in the car for a long prime stint. And let's see, I mean, he's come out behind Martin Gosby, so he has got that trainer cast to deal with, but he hasn't got that long to wait now until they're probably going to be heading into the pits again. The problem for Stefanko will be that they're probably going to put on the option tyre, so he may have a little bit of a buffer, but they're all potentially going to be considerably quicker than he is. But Sander Callas now inherits the lead of the race, and very nicely doing so as well.
Our race director just notified us about the constructors fight for P2 at the moment. The pit stop error, or whatever it was for Simoncic, could mean that they lose P2 in the constructors.
I mean, let's see, who is... It's Gosby and Becker in the flag-to-flag Brem GP car, is it not?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so the current positions that they are in, 6th and 8th.
Gosby will lose at least one more position to Stefanko because of pit stops.
Yeah. We will definitely have to keep an eye on that. I mean, I think if Simoncic wins, it could be very, very close, depending on where Gosby and Becker can actually position themselves. Martin Gosby is all over the back of D'Alessandro, who was ever so sideways through Young Cow. He nearly lost the car, but somehow still managed to get a fairly decent exit, meaning that Gosby's not close enough to attack unless he's going to absolutely chuck it up the inside, which he's not going to do. He's just going to have to hold on for the moment. What I am interested to see as well, though, is how quickly Jurni Simoncic is going to be able to close that gap to Sander Callas, because I think, well, Simoncic potentially has to catch up to Callas, because Callas is probably going to pit for the option tyre, and Simoncic has got to make another pit stop. So yeah, Simoncic is going to have to get right behind him, but Gosby all over the back of D'Alessandro, and if Gosby can have a decent final corner, I think we may see a change of position. And just to let you know, much further down at the field, and Eric Andre and Camille Wieswer are getting ever so close to each other. On this occasion though, Gosby has had a fantastic exit at the final corner, and to his dismay, so has D'Alessandro. But I think Gosby may be close enough on this occasion. He has got a decent straight line speed, he's getting closer, he's thinking about it, but he's not close enough to actually brave making the decision. Either that, or he's seen what's been happening around Michele today, and he thought, you know what, I'm not going to risk it.
But he got a good exit out of turn 2, he might make a move into turn 4. Michele going defensive. Still up the gearbox of Michele now. Michele takes the defensive line into turn 6.
Or go for a switch back. That's a lovely attempt. We saw Patel try and do it on Hoyer earlier, it didn't work, and unfortunately for Gosby it hasn't worked on that occasion either, but much less contact.
Oh, Michele runs wide. Gosby sideways. Oh, sideways again, Gosby. And another. Gosby's more sideways than straight on this car.
I wonder if he shaved half his beard off, it would affect the balance of the car. D'Alessandro into the pits. I'll keep an eye on what tyres he's going to go on to. Just to let you know, Simoncic has got the gap down to 8.8 seconds, and it's looking like another set of the prime tyre for D'Alessandro.
And Patel is up the gearbox of Michi Hoyer again.
It's taken him quite some time to catch back up to Michi Hoyer, unless Patel was doing what he has done a lot of this season, go through a phase of the race thinking, you know what, I'm just going to look after the tyres a little bit. Looks like James Sadler may have had an issue somewhere, lost a couple of places by the looks of things to Michael Ayres and Mark Hutchinson. So Sadler now quite some distance behind them, down into 15th place. Oh, Michael Ayres spins off. He's got no front wing. That may have been, I wonder if it's at the inside barrier at turn 2. That may be race over for him. Yes, it will be. Mohammed Patel once again is getting close to Michi Hoyer, and yet Michael Ayres has DNF'd, unfortunately. So 5 drivers haven't made it to the end of the race, but I think, to be fair, during qualifying we probably thought nobody would make it to the end, given the server difficulties that we were having. Just to recap the situation up at the front, Sander Kalas still has a pit stop to make. Yerny Simoncic was comfortably leading, but looks to have gone for a 3-stop strategy instead of a 2-stop strategy. Could cost him the victory here. And then behind them we have Michi Hoyer and Mohammed Patel, who are yet to make their final stop and will probably go for a set of the option tyres. You're right, Patel is pitting. So come on then, quickly, Peter. Is he going to go for the options, or is he going to go for primes?
Well, he must go for the option unless he makes a weird synergist strategy. Yeah, he's going for the options.
And Sander Kalas has also pitted and gone for the option tyre.
Gosby pitting as well.
Yeah, you're on the ball. Option tyre for him. So Stefanko is going to retake 3rd place in this race. Yerny Simoncic now leading. Now this is the bit to keep an eye on, folks. The gap between Yerny Simoncic and Sander Kalas, because this is for the lead of the race. Although actually no, it's the gap between Yerny Simoncic and Martin Stefanko, because Stefanko is effectively the net leader of this race.
But I think Sander Kalas will close up to Stefanko pretty rapidly. He's on fresh option tyres, Stefanko on 1 prime tyres. Yep.
Now when Stefanko was stuck behind Florian Becker earlier on in the race, who was the leading prime tyre runner from the start, I mentioned that it could be costly for Stefanko, and this is the reason why. Sander Kalas is only, what, 2.5 seconds? Michi Hoyer into the pits. Yeah, Kalas only 2.5 seconds behind Stefanko, and now on the option tyre. Michi Hoyer on to the options as well, no surprise there. Now, is Mohammed Patel going to be one of the few drivers to actually get an undercut this season? It could be close. It could be very, very close. Mohammed Patel coming into turn 1 now. Michi Hoyer coming through turn 2 in the pit lane. Mohammed Patel is going to be close, but not close enough, I believe. No, Michi Hoyer is going to hold on to the position. He's actually gained time there, which is no surprise with the overcut. Although it was already ahead, so it's not quite a cut, but it was over. So, what's the situation we got now? What's the story? Well, the story is Simoncic, where are you going to come out when you pit again? And Sander Kalas, how much do you want a World Championship win? Because it's there for you. The possibility is there.
If Stefanko manages to hold up Kalas somehow with his top speed, or without his top speed, and Simoncic doing another splash and dash in the end, we might have a 3-way fight for the win.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Simoncic is going to come out, I would think, ahead of Michi Hoyer.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's going to have about 7-8 seconds to try and catch up as Florian Becker heads into the pit lane. Now, most of the drivers in the top end of the field have got a little bit spread out now. I was trying to see if there's any battles a little bit further down. Mark Hutchinson heading into the pit lane. Florian Becker is going to be coming out of the pit lane soon, but I think it could be close between himself and James Sadler. on pit exit? No, unfortunately it's not. Becker's going to be miles ahead on that one. Now the interesting thing to sort of point out as well now is that Jurni Simoncic will have a much lower fuel load at this point than Stefanko or Kallas, so he has got the opportunity of opening up that gap, but he's going to have to really push like mad if he wants to make this work. I mean, if he comes out in third place and then takes the win in the last few laps, I'll take back all of my comments about him giving us no action whatsoever. And Eric Andre very, very close to the back of Jos Araneda. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to attack into turn one. No, he's not. Jos Araneda, having started from the pit lane, now running in 9th place, so doing quite well at the moment. But an Eric Andre all over the back of him. Different compounded tyres on both of their cars, as James Sadler also heads into the pit lane for what will be his final stop.
Keeping an eye out on the gap between Simoncic, Stefanko and Kallas at the moment. And Simoncic doesn't seem to be able to open up a gap.
You're right.
Simoncic was 0.3 faster last lap than Martin Stefanko.
Well, it is possible that Simoncic is just pushing those tyres a little bit too hard. And with Stefanko being on the prime tyre, he can push them hard, and they'll take it, they'll accept it. Whereas if you're on the option tyres, they don't like you pushing too hard for too long. But maybe that's why Jurni's gone for the difference of strategy. And Eric Andre was getting close to Araneda, but Araneda is into the pits, so he robs us of that little bit of action. Something else to keep an eye on, Peter, is Jurni Simoncic isn't pulling away from Michi Hoyer.
Michi Hoyer is actually faster, I think.
He is.
It was 26 seconds 2 laps ago.
And the last thing that Simoncic is going to need is to come out of the pits, okay, on a brand new set of option tyres, but behind Michi Hoyer. He needs to come out into that gap and just have the clear air to go and attack if he wants to make it work. Sander Kallas is now on the back of Martin Stefanko. He's definitely within slipstream range, let's put it that way. Obviously not DRS range, because there is no DRS, but Stefanko may find out what it's like to be passed by Sander Kallas when he's on a much, much faster tyre.
And I think Sander only needs to be within half a second after the last corner, and he will be able to overtake Stefanko, just because of the big top speed difference between these two.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And like, I mean, I mentioned earlier that with Stefanko that he needed to sort of spend sector 1 and 2 getting himself lined up into the final corner correctly. That's kind of the same situation for Sander Kallas here. He just needs to be in the right position now, and that's not quite the right position. But yeah, get a good exit here. Stefanko will get a good exit with his higher wing, but Sander Kallas should be able to close that gap rather rapidly. And now he does. This is where the speed limitation for Stefanko will come into play. But actually, Kallas isn't catching as fast as I thought he might.
That was a top speed of 332.5 kph. Compared to Stefanko, who only gets 320 when in slipstream.
Yeah, now I'm guessing he was a little bit more than half a second behind through the final corner, but so he now knows, okay, he needs to be a little bit closer if he wants to have a better opportunity. Because one of the things that Sander Kallas can't do, as Camille Wieswer heads into the pits, one of the things Kallas can't do, he can't afford to wait too long, because following Stefanko while he's on these option tyres, it's going to hurt these option tyres, so the longer he waits, the more difficult it will become to make a move, because as the tyres wear, he's going to struggle around this corner. He's not going to be able to get close, and he needs to be close. Can he get a good exit here? Yes, he can. Is he closer than last time? I think he might be, you know, Peter.
I don't think that much, because he made a mistake out of the last turn. He had a bit of oversteer, which cost him. But yeah, he is closer. He is closer, definitely.
He's going for it as well, up the inside, but now he's gone deep. And I think Mohammed Patel's in a bit of a battle as well with Martin Gosby. But what an attempted move there by Callas. He absolutely threw his toys out the pram and went for it. But now he's had to pick up those toys and he'll have to try and play a lap later.
I think Patel had a battle with D'Alessandro, who then lost the position to Gosby. Let's take a look what happened.
Could be right.
Step the right thing. Wait, give me a moment. And D'Alessandro yet left. Okay, I can't seem to get a replay working right now.
Okay, no problem. I'm just keeping an eye on Sander Callas. I don't think he's going to be close enough. No, he's not close enough on this time. As Jurni Simicic is into the pits for his final stop. It is a set of the option tyres. He's going to come out a long way behind Stefanko and Callas. Callas isn't close enough to attack Stefanko. Question is Simicic going to come out ahead of Hoyer? He needs to. If he wants any chance of actually taking the win here, or at least trying to catch up to the guys ahead, he needs to be ahead of Michi Hoyer. And he will be. He will be by a few seconds.
Okay, the problem for Carlos is now he needs to get by Stefanko quick, because a few more laps and I think his option tires are not good enough anymore to follow through Sector 2.
Yeah, definitely. And although Simicic has now got, well, I would say, you would usually say, he has now got more fuel on. He'll have pretty much the same amount of fuel on as these guys, but he's got much fresher tyres. So he's going to be able to close that gap rather rapidly. So Callas needs to make the move, otherwise he's going to have Simicic up his gearbox. But as you mentioned, Peter, his tyres are going to start struggling, and we're already seeing signs of that. Stefanko getting a much better exit off the final corner, and that's just opening up enough of a gap that's going to make it difficult for Callas. I'm just going to have a quick look at Martin Gosby. He's close to Patel, but I don't know if he's going to be close enough to attack. No, I don't think he will be, but that is a battle we may have to keep an eye on, because obviously Gosby, any positions he gains could definitely benefit his team in the constructors' standings. So, Sander Callas, what have you got? Because I mentioned that Jurni Simicic will be rather quick. He's already taken 2 seconds out of these guys ahead of him in, what, a lap and a half? So, yeah, Simicic on a charge. This could definitely end up rather interesting. Although the race so far has been absolutely fantastic. But Salas? Who's Salas? Callas struggling again on his tyres in Junção. And I think the problem for him, Peter, is he had the one occasion where he was kind of close, and now he's pushing it to be even closer and realising the car doesn't want to take it.
Okay, so we have a live graphic for the constructor battle for P3 right now, and with the current standings, Avid Chronic Racing would take the 2nd position, Flag to Flag 3rd position, and Ghostspeed 4th in the Constructor Championship, if it finishes like this.
Interesting. And the reason I say interesting is because when doing the highlights video, we're kind of given a script, and there was something I noticed about the script, and that was that it said, keep an eye on the battle between Ghostspeed and Flag to Flag for 2nd place in the Constructors. But I realised it didn't mention anything about ACR. ACR were, or are, in that fight for 2nd place in the Constructors.
And just a quick update, just for the points gap, currently the points are 263 for ACR, 253 for flag to flag, and 249 for ghost speed with the current standings.
Wow, okay. But that could all change because Yerny Simoncic is now only 2.9 seconds behind Martin Stefanko, and Stefanko is catching up to a bit of traffic. But not only that, Martin Gosby is all over the back of Mohamed Patel still, but both of those guys are on the option tyre. So, Sander Kallas, can you do it? Can you do anything about Martin Stefanko ahead of you? Is Martin Stefanko going to get ACR's second win in the World Championship in back-to-back races? Or is Yerny Simoncic, who has now got that gap down to 2.5 seconds and can see that he's gaining on those guys ahead of him, is he going to come through to show the speed of the ghost speed to take another victory this season?
Oh, and Sander Kallas is closer, I think, closer than he ever was out of the last turn.
This is the time where if you're Stefanko, you can hear that Jaws music playing in your ears. Because, yeah, here comes Sander Kallas. He's going to have to go for it. But Stefanko covers him off. I think that was a little bit too late of a move to cover it off. There wasn't a lot that, that Sander Kallas could do there.
Oh, and he has massive suspension damage as well. I think he will drop down to like somewhere around P10. Probably.
Oh yeah, he's struggling massive. Yes, he has massive, as you said, massive suspension down. I don't think he's going to struggle to get to the end. His teammate is already passing him. Michi Hoyer will now have seen what the problem is with his teammate's car. But that's a massive disappointment. So whoever it was that gave you that graphic, they're going to have to redo it. Because Sander Kallas is now leading the race. Yerny Simoncic, though, is right behind him, and we know that Simoncic has been quick. But we also know that Sander Kallas has got fantastic straight line speed.
Question is, has Sander Kallas any suspension damage from it? Probably not. No, he doesn't.
No, I think he sort of hit him right on the middle of the nose. I mean, I was riding on board with Sander Kallas, and I don't know, he moved to the inside, and it kind of looked like Martin Stefanko wasn't going to cover it off, and Kallas kind of went for it, and then Martin did move across. I mean, I'm not the race director, as Mohamed Patel has now managed to, and Gosby have got past Stefanko, because Stefanko into the pits. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a lot that Sander Kallas could do, to be honest, in that situation. But now he's going to have to watch out for what Simoncic is going to do behind him. So whoever it was that did give you that graphic, Peter, I hope you're messaging them to say, come on, you got about 6 laps to do me a new one. But Simoncic, have you seen how close he is?
I just noticed a mistake in the graphics I got.
You didn't show them on the screen?
No, I didn't show them. The points for Florian Becker are wrong, I think.
Okay.
Just noticing.
Come on, name and shame. Actually, don't name and shame just yet, because Yerny Simoncic is going to try and make the move into turn 1. And Sander Kallas covers the inside nice and early, making it as difficult as he can for Yerny Simoncic. Simoncic, though, waiting for Kallas to be out of shape in 2, which he was massively. I think Simoncic had to lift out of that one. Kallas now defending the inside, but is it going to be of any benefit? We've seen a few drivers try side-by-side through 4. Simoncic opting for a bit of a switchback, is he? Can't quite get it to work. Now, I mentioned earlier that Kallas couldn't afford... Oh, and he's not going there, is he? Oh, he thought about it, but that's got Kallas out of shape. Interesting driving from Yerny Simoncic there.
Okay, little points update. Flag to flag 255, ghost speed 252, ACR 247.
And it still could all change. Yerny Simoncic all over the back of Sander Kallas again. And now I mentioned earlier on that Kallas, when he was behind Stefanko, couldn't afford to wait. For Simoncic, it's a little bit different. Because Kallas is on the option tyre and has been on them for a long time, Simoncic could wait a little bit longer and look after his tyres a bit more, but he's going to go for the move here because he's closer than he was before. Kallas defending nice and early. That means Simic is going to have to go all the way around the outside. But Callas holds on to the inside line. Goes deep though through 1. Simic around the outside in 2. And into the lead he goes. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. And I need a cough sweep because my throat is killing me. I don't think Sander Callas is finished with this fight though, looking at it. He hasn't. Oh. He's trying to. Oh, you're not going to try around the outside of 6. No, he's not, and he's out of shape to try the inside. Oh, what a race! What a race! I mean, you mentioned it, Peter. That it could be one of the best races of the season. I think, without a doubt, it's given us the most action of the season.
Okay, new points update. Go speed 259, flag to flag 255, sorry, and ACR 247. And
well, I hope they're ready.
I think Martin Stefanko's getting close to Eric Andrew with a broken suspension.
Okay, well I hope the points are ready to be updated again because Martin Gosby is very, very close to the back of Mohamed Patel. He's really close, but Mohamed Patel has had a decent exit, but I think Gosby is going to have an opportunity here. Come on, get that speed, get that speed. Actually, don't. I don't need you to score points. I'm a go speed guy. Gosby tries it, but Patel has got him covered off. Let's see if he can do any kind of switchback. No, he can't. A little bit too much dirty air. Well, fantastic stuff from all of the guys here today. Well, now that Yerny Simic has managed to get into the lead of the race, he can manage that gap, whereas Sander Callas has got to kind of manage his tyres a little bit. Michi Hoyer is not that far away from Sander Callas, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch him. And you mentioned about Stefanko, he is all over the back of an Eric Andre. And if Risto Capit heads into the pits, bit of a surprise final pit stop. No, Risto Capit DNF. He's not just crashed. Oh, how?
Oh, and Eric! Yeah. Eric's sideways into turn 7.
Maybe he just wanted to have a bit more of a panoramic view of the corner. And Stefanko doing ever so well to drive this car with that amount of steering angle applied with the damage.
Yeah. This damage he has is so heavy that he still has to turn a bit to the right when doing turn 3. But he still has this problem that he doesn't have any top speed.
That is very, very true. I mean, the thing is, it's not easy to adjust to the amount of steering angle that's automatically applied. Oh, well saved. I think Stefanko's driving for pride right now, given the amount of damage that is on his car. Doing a fantastic job with it as well. I mean, it is not easy sort of driving around the right hand corner, kind of turning left a bit. It looks like at the moment Mohamed Patel is safe from attack from Martin Gosby. So closest battle is, I think, this Stefanko and Eric Andre one, which, I mean, if this ended in disaster, depending on the situation of it, I don't think you could necessarily blame Stefanko. I mean, any kind of too aggressive movement on the wheel, I mean, he's going around left-handers, turning right here, but he's got an opportunity. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside, which is not going to be easy to do, but there's contact. A little bit of a touch between the two drivers there. It's not easy, as we mentioned, to... Maybe Martin just thought, you know what, if I bump the other side of the car, it might straighten up the wheels a little bit. I'm having another look at Gosby and Patel. That gap seems to be holding at just under a second at the moment. Not a lot that
oh,
Martin
and Eric
Gosby
made a
do
little
that.
mistake there. Oh no, Stefanko outbraked himself. Needed to take a race of action, otherwise he would have ran into the back of Eric Andre there.
Stefanko did very well to avoid him. Gosby, is Gosby right on the gearbox of Patel? He is, so as soon as I say, you know, he's not going to catch him, he goes and bloody catches him. Maybe I should just constantly say, oh, this guy's giving us no action, and then they give us action. Patel looks like he might be struggling a little bit. Gosby got a pretty decent run on him here. Yeah, Patel struggling, under braking, and on corner entry, his tyres must be suffering a lot now. Gosby has got an opportunity. All he needs is a decent corner, and that wasn't it, unfortunately. That's going to cost him enough time that he's now going to take at least another lap to try and catch up. The problem is, Yerny Simičić has already started lap 70 of 71, so there's only this and one more lap to go.
And Stefanko's getting close to Eric Andre again, I think. I think Eric's tires are dead. Oh, he's all the way sideways through the last corner. And they're side by side out of the last corner. Stefanko nearly loses it over the curb. Still side by side all the way up to the start-finish line. And Stefanko is just missing the top speed.
He is. I mean, as a racer, I could tell you that's painful. A guy moves all the way around the outside of you and then goes and covers the inside. That will have been very painful for Stefanko there. Okay, not long to go now, and the best race of the season will be coming to an end.
Oh, and then Eric Andre had a bad turn 4. They're side by side again up to turn 6.
This could get messy. It could also get very exciting. I mean, I'm surprised that Stefanko is able to drive as quick as he is with that amount of damage. But I think you were right in saying that an Eric Andre's tyres may be on their way out. Stefanko's, obviously, his tyres are much fresher, but he's driving with a heavily damaged car. He's going to have an opportunity here. But what have we said all race, Peter? Well, what have you said all race?
I can't remember. They have too much.
He hasn't got the straight line speed.
Oh, yeah. Well, now he's side by side. He's braking late. And I think he's got it. I think he's got it. But Eric has so much more top speed, he will make a move into turn 4.
Just to let you know, Yerny Simičić has come around the final corner already. He's on his way up towards the start-finish line. And Eric Andre does manage to get through.
The inside. They're still battling up to turn 6.
Okay, just to let you know, Yerny Simičić crosses the line, takes the victory here in Brazil. Sander Callas will take second place, Michi Hoyer third. Martin Gosby has managed to get past Mohamed Patel. We missed it, Peter. We'll have to see a replay if we can. But that could be crucial in the constructors' standings. So Mohamed Patel's in 5th and Stefanko does get past an Eric Andre.
Okay, the next one will be Stefanko. I will just show a replay of Gosby overtaking Patel. I will just fast forward it. Oh, it was the same corner Patel struggled before on turn-in. I think it is turn 9.
Okay, good stuff. Right, Stefanko crosses the line, 6th place, and Eric Andre 7th place. Florian Becker 8th. Camille Wieswer was right next to him in 9th place. Jos Araneda takes 10th place. Mark Hutchinson is going to take 11th place. James Sadler is in 12th, and Sergi Eras has already crossed the line. He's in 13th place. Oh, you know what? There would have been people sat there when we're having the difficult times with the server earlier on, saying all kinds of things. But this is one of the reasons we love racing, because sometimes at the most difficult of times, you get given a gift. And the gift today was the racing spectacle that was put on by these guys. An absolutely amazing race here today.
I think that was by a mile the race of the season this year.
Yeah.
And I know that you will be having fun commentating a 30-minute highlights video.
I'm
after
not
this.
doing it. I'm not doing it. If they, oh, it's hard enough to commentate on 2 qualifying sessions, but also at a race like that, absolutely mental. I'm going to look forward to a rest, I think, after this one.
So, a quick update on the constructor battle for P2.
Yes.
Ghost speed 259 points, flag to flag 257 points, Avid Chronic Racing 249.
So Ghost Speed takes second, Flag to Flag take third, and Avid Chronic Racing take fourth.
That's correct.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, hopefully we'll be able to have a chat with Yuri Simincic.
Simincic exploring the track a little bit.
Yeah, he's decided to celebrate in style. He always knows where to park his car. From what I heard, he saw a group of ladies up there earlier on, and they asked for his signature. So maybe he's gone to try and find them, although his wife won't be too happy about that. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to have a chat with Yuri Simincic, Sander Callas and Michi Hoyer, with them being our podium sitters, because that was one hell of a race.
Simincic found a garage up there to park his car. I think that's under the track down to up to... Oh, that's exactly under the pit entry where he parked his car. Oh, and there he goes flying off the track.
The incredible journeys of Yuri Simincic. But I've got to admit, I didn't think, once we spotted that he was on the 3-stop strategy, I didn't think he was going to be able to close that gap and retake the lead of the race. But don't tell him I said that, and we'll interview him in a minute. Now, while we wait for those guys to hopefully come and join us for a little bit of a chat, I will just quickly mention that obviously, yes, this is the end of the FSR 2017 season. However, in the off-season, there will be a winter series taking place. If you want to know more information about that, check out the link in the descriptions to the FSR forums. And all of the information will be on there about the winter series. Winner of the winter series, I believe, gets a free FSR license. Also, don't forget that you can follow FSR on Twitter as well. And now I've mentioned that twice. Hopefully Ron will be doubly happy with me for that. But yeah, check out the FSR forums for all of your FSR information. Now, I believe we have Yuri Simincic has joined us. Well, Yuri, congratulations. Bit of a boring race, that, wasn't it?
I almost fell asleep. No. Well, first thing, well, thanks a lot to the whole team for the whole season, and to Jeroen for coming to engineer me for the last race. And Jeroen is sending special cheers for you, Dave. He says that he hopes you are doing well, and yeah. But yeah, the race itself was yeah. I wanted to have fun. I just put lower wings than I know everyone else will put, and I didn't want to save tires and to be frustrated with the wear, so I just went for 3 stops and had some great fun.
Well, there's interesting timing around that as well. I mean, I didn't know you were going for a 3-stop strategy. I didn't know if it was going to work for you once we realised that was what you was doing. I mean, a question I want to ask you, though, is obviously prior to this race starting, there was a lot of difficulties with the server and so on. It's very easy for drivers to struggle with that kind of thing just before a race. Did it have any effect on yourself, or were you able to just take a very cool approach and, like I say, go at it and have some fun?
I had quite big problems with what happened. Just couldn't find the rhythm, of course, when the real road is gone, and when the real road is gone again. I lost all the braking points that I had, and well, basically had to relearn some in those 4 quali laps that we had. Well, less than 4. The quali didn't really went too well. I put together sector 1, sector 2, then in my 3rd attempt, and then somehow got turbo boost down up the hill in sector 3, and yeah, just snatched the pole, and then the server crashed. But I was not comfortable. I was more prepared for rain, to be honest. But yeah, at the end it just worked out.
That it did. I mean, the race itself, I mean, looked very comfortable for you from the start. But once I mean, the way I sort of mentioned it on commentary was, to put it into perspective, you'd ran the soft tyre and the hard tyre and pitted before Stefanko, who had run the soft tyre and the soft tyre. So it was a bit of a surprise, but I'm guessing it was a lot of fun for you fighting through the way that you had to.
Yeah, it was great. Well, I didn't expect to. I mean, I didn't plan to come out after the second pit stop behind Stefan and was it Mo? Yeah, Martin and Mo, or what? Oh, it was Hoyer. I don't know. I came out behind 2 cars, and well, fortunately I had enough top speed to pass them. Yeah, but it would be even more fun in the end if we had 3-way battle in the last 5 laps. But yeah.
It is what it is. Great stuff. Peter, any questions you want to put to Joni Simicic?
Not really. I think the real reason probably for your 3-stop strategy was that you wanted to go into the battle for P5, right?
Sorry.
At least it seemed that way. That the reason why you did an extra pit stop, or an extra early pit stop, how you want to put it, was to get some action, because everyone in the midfield was battling always long, and you were just driving alone up front, nobody next to you, and feeling a bit lonely there.
Well, no, I knew there would be a lot of fights going on, but I trusted the OP Go Speed wings as always, so top speed helped me.
Exactly. Quickly mention as well, Peter, I think you have some news to give to Joni Simicic as well regarding what that result means.
Well, he probably has this news already, but with your win, you managed to secure 2nd place for Go Speed in WC this year.
Yeah. We talked about that before even the race ended. If it stayed like that, so then it stayed like it was the order. So yeah, well, it's at the end of the 5th season with the Go Speed, it's a really nice result. We progressed forward from the 2013 when Morgan left us. It was quite a lot of struggle, but James made his best to keep us together, to improve the team, and now we are there, P2.
Now we are very, very good. I was hoping to have a bit of a chat with Sander Callas, but it doesn't look like he's able to join us for a chat. So, Joni, I'll quickly ask you. You mentioned that you were looking forward to the 3-way battle at the end. Did you have much of a view of what happened between Sander Callas and Martin Stefanko?
I had some, and Jeroen told me also about it. I just saw there was a gap, and then suddenly a lot of smoke. I thought that Callas was like 1 second behind, but apparently he was closer. Then a lot of smoke, and Stefanko into the wall. And well, then Jeroen told me that maybe Stefanko moved over into Callas' way, but I will have to check the replay.
Yeah, smoking is bad for your health. But from what we can gather, it can help you get second place in the constructors and go on to win the race. Well done, Yerny. Fantastic drive there today and perfectly timed. You did give us plenty of action. Gonna have a quick chat now with Michi Hoyer. Good afternoon, Michi. Interesting race. I've got to say, you probably had one of the best starts that I've seen any WC driver have this season.
Thanks.
Two places pretty much instantly. Great stuff. Got a little interesting after that, though, didn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I need to be honest. The initial start wasn't that good. I mean, I just out-accelerated Alessandro, who was starting on the bad side on P4, I think. And when braking for turn 1, I slightly lost the car, and I was like, oh, I hope I didn't get touched from behind. But suddenly, there was a gap on the outside for turn 2 beside Stefanko. And well, when there's a gap, you get your nose in. And yeah, in the beginning race laps, it seemed like I could stand a little bit with Sander Callas, but then yeah, you entered the circle. Yanni was on about. As soon as you push too hard on the options for 3, 4, 5 laps in a row, they get this 10 degrees too hot, and then they start out losing 10th by 10th. That's what happened then. And yeah, so I decided to somewhat give way to Stefanko. So if he pulls in an attack, to not defend at all, because I knew he would probably gonna be faster. Well, yeah, the second stint was hell of life.
Yeah, that was exciting, shall we say?
Well, I can't remember a battle going on for 9 or 10 corners in a race. But the one I had with Patel there, starting in the center as, and I think ending at turn 10. It was just, I mean, he is one FSR, but that doesn't mean you let get people past. I mean, it's exactly the opposite. You know that the guy behind is an extra class driver, so you don't want to get him past at all. It was a different story with Journey though, and I mean, Journey was a lot lighter and had fresh tires and something like that, so he just out-accelerate me, and with his massive low wings, I mean, I could have parked the car on the left-hand side on the main straight. Wouldn't have made any difference. So yeah, that was definitely a special thing.
Well, I mean, the result in the end is a third place, which is definitely not to be scoffed at. Obviously, being an ACR driver, you'll be aware that okay, your gainers come at Stefanko's loss, so to speak. But I think to a degree, still got to be, I don't know if happy's the right word, but satisfied maybe at the display that yourself and Martin put on today.
On the personal side of life, definitely satisfied. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my race. I think I operated at my expectations and at my general level. Nothing special, but just a solid drive, which would have got me a P4. However, team-wise, obviously it's mixed. Of course, we looked at getting second in the constructors ourselves, because technically or mathematically this would have been possible. With Jörne winning the race, it was clear that we couldn't got go speed in the end. But yeah, I mean, if Stefanko would have been, let's say, worst case without the crash third and me being fourth, it would have been an interesting story with
flag to flag.
Yeah, with flag to flag in the end, because Gosby, I think he managed to pass Patel on the very last lap or something.
Yeah.
Which was interesting though, because the pace of Patel was good on the primes, but as soon as he put on the options, he like fell off half a second per lap. I was surprised.
Yeah, I think many would have been. I mean, again though, I mean, as Jörny said, sort of he'd set his car up with the potential of rain, so maybe it was a similar thing with Mohamed Patel. Great stuff though, a fantastic race. Peter, any questions for Michi Hoyer?
No questions. Just congratulations on the podium. Didn't work quite out with getting ACR into P2.
Thank you. Anyway, before people now say goodbye to everyone. I just want to thank FSR administration for pulling off a good season so far. I think a fairly interesting season in between. Thank you to all the organizers to make this stuff work, because there are like 20 or 25 handful of work in the background to be done to bring out a broadcast like this, to operate a good system, operate a good website, and get the promotion and sponsoring done. So congratulations for getting a good season on the way there, and really appreciate all your work. And in the end, there's nothing else to say than charge your batteries, guys. Take a few days off and be around for 2nd December, as there will be quite some special thing happening again. I don't want to go too much into detail right now, but you will see on 2nd December this year. And then I hope you guys join us for racing in 2018 in Formula Sim Racing again. Have a nice winter. Have a nice Christmas. Happy New Year. Stuff like that. Yeah, charge your batteries and get some motivation from somewhere. Do some stuff you regularly don't do because of FSR and anything. And
yeah,
be prepared.
Spend time with your girlfriend. That's what you don't do when you're racing FSR. Spend time with your wives and your girlfriends. But no, you're very right there, Mitchell. I mean, I was going to mention as well, I mean, thanks to everybody involved in Formula Sim Racing, especially the drivers as well. It's been interesting to commentate on the World Championship races and see the ace races and take part in the pro races. So thank you to everybody involved within Formula Sim Racing. As Mitchie says, get ready for what comes next, because hopefully things will just get better and better. Peter, any final comments?
I can just second that what everybody said. Massive thank you to everyone involved. A big thank you to everyone watching and supporting us. Big thank you to all drivers giving us an exciting season, especially this race. Yeah, and stick with us. See what comes next. Join us next season. You even can drive with us in Formula Sim Racing. We have many different divisions where you can join. Follow us everywhere. Follow us on Twitter, especially, one will like this. And yeah, tune in the next time we're live.
Definitely. So, with the thanks all done, make sure you check out the FSR forums. Links are in the description. And as Mitchie Hoyer said, have a great winter and have a great Christmas. Speak to you all soon.
Goodbye.